Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome to the Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm Mike Herrick, aka Classic Mike, and tonight I'm here with the one, the only, Kendall from the Fantasy Football Tavern. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What up? What up? Another happy Friday. Glad to be talking football with my good homie Classic Mike over here. Man, how you doing? How you living these days?
Hey, man, another Friday. That's all I want. Got to enjoy Thursday night football last night, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But hey, man, can't argue. Ready for the weekend. Just ready to relax. Kind of.
Ready to relax, and then Sunday comes and you got to answer a bunch of questions, and it's not.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then anxiety for 8 hours of people getting hit and hoping that they get up every time. Yep. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we're at now. This time of year, people. It is week 4 of the fantasy football season. So we are getting into some crazy stuff. Last night we started off week 4 with the Cowboys at the Giants. We're going to give you guys a quick little reaction in a minute. First, just a quick breakdown of tonight's show. Tonight, we're going to be breaking down 7 games in the Sunday slate, as well as giving you guys one prop from each game that we both like from Underdog. Make sure you guys check out Underdog. It is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. We enjoy their best ball every year. We enter their best ball tournaments. We live stream them in the off season. Best ball are leagues that you can draft your team and that's it. Set it and forget it. It's fantastic. No waivers, no trades, and no weekly lineup setting. So you can get into hundreds of them if you really want to. Or you can get into their pick'em contest where you simply pick a higher or lower on a player's stats like total yards and touchdowns. So make sure you guys go and sign up using promo code GETRIGHT in states that allow it, of course. And not only will you receive 50% deposit match, now you'll up to $1,000. You're going to be able to get a bonus for Pick'em. I don't think they have one out, but here's their schedule for more things. They have the More Money Mondays, free picks, all that fun stuff. So make sure you guys check out all those wonderful things. Also, we're going to have live Q&A at the end of the show. So make sure you guys are dropping your questions in the chat, and we're going to get to them at the very end of the show. Just a friendly reminder, just make sure that you guys let us know the format of the league, full, half, standard, PPR, tight end premium, so on and so forth. Make sure you just let us know that. It's very helpful when we're trying to help you guys with decisions. If we see one that goes with the game that we're going to be discussing, we might bring it up. So, just throw all your questions in the chat and we're going to get to them. We also have super chats available as well. So if you want your question answered right away, be sure to use the super chat and we will stop the show just for you and answer your question at that moment. Of course, I'm going to wait till someone's done with their take, but then we will answer your particular question right then and there. So make sure you guys do that. Also, for those that are new to the show, make sure you guys are checking out our schedule. We are here every day. I'll be back with you guys on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to make sure that we go over actives, inactives, last-minute start-sit questions. Then on Monday, Rasta and Frank will be here to do waiver wire ads. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Pacific. And then make sure you guys come back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern to watch Tycoon and enjoy his commentary in the fantasy boardroom. So make sure you guys check out Tycoon on Tuesdays. Then on Wednesday, Frank and Roster are back, help you guys with buy low and sell high targets. That's every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, as well as Phil, who will be here on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, and also on Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, right before game time on Thursday. And then Friday night, we have our 2 shows, me with, Kendall right here in the beginning. And then we will be going to part 2 right after us at 9 o'clock. So make sure you guys check us out tonight, and then it will bring you right into the next show right at 11 o'clock. So don't worry. We're going to get you guys all there now, soon. We have another show coming on Saturday eventually. Just give it time. We'll get there. And then we'll have 7 days a week for everybody. All righty. So I hope everyone's doing well on this wonderful day. We got Kyle Flint going early stream. Woo! We got Ross in the chat saying, "What up?" Joe Ortiz in the house. Always enjoy it. So, like I said, please make sure you guys are throwing your questions in the chat. If you want your question answered right away, make sure you guys drop us a super chat and we will get to it. Otherwise, we will have your questions answered at the very end of the show. So stay tuned. First, we're going to go over our Thursday night recap of the Giants versus the Cowboys. Giants won 20-15. We're going to go over the good, the bad, the ugly. More good than anything, which is nice.
This is coming from the Giants fan. I gotta know. I gotta get your take. Like, overall picture before you break down good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
Just you as a human that loves the Giants. Good, bad, ugly, 1 to 10. What are your thoughts, Classic? How, as a fan?
It got me to about a 7. I like what I'm seeing overall. Giants offense looks so much better than it did. Daniel Jones needs to throw the damn ball downfield and have more air behind it. I mean, it's quite shocking for somebody that used to be incredibly good at throwing the ball downfield. He just has nothing behind it to go deep anymore. He had a lot of bad deep throws, but he was really good in the intermediate and short routes. He did very well overall. The line gave him so much time to freaking throw the ball. Cowboys are a pretty decent pass rush. I know that Micah Parsons got hurt during it, and so did DeMarcus Lawrence at one point. But before they even went down, they were having their way with them pretty much. There were times where Daniel Jones would sit in the pocket for 2 minutes and drink tea, and he didn't know what to do with the ball at one point. Neighbors look solid. Always, I'm really, really proud and happy that he's been doing that well. Wan'Dale Robinson, man, he looked great. Between the both of them, it was 15 and 14 targets apiece, 12 and 11 receptions each. Jones played extremely, well overall. He didn't make bad decisions. He didn't throw it into, he didn't throw an interception. Clutch time, he's starting to shit the bed. It's starting to get a little mucky where we're in situations that he needs to pass, and he makes it hurts. Cowboys didn't look any better, to be fair. Their offense looked shaky at best. Dak looked on edge. You got CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson. Those were the only two that really did anything. Brandon Cooks was involved, of course. But Rigo Dowdle is probably the main back. Maybe. I have no idea at this point. I have no idea who is the running back for this particular team. I don't know. Zeke didn't play like a whole half.
How good did it feel being like all the trash talk in the world that could be spoken about this game, and it's easier to not talk trash about the Giants right now.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to hate on the Cowboys. They're already an easy team to hate, but just that running game. You guys didn't think you were going to have an amazing running game this year. And I think, to be fair, you don't. A lot of people
better
don't,
than it was.
But it's better than Dallas. It's a lot better.
Oh, my God. Singletary is something, man. I like Singletary a lot. I'm very happy that we went for Singletary.
He seemed to do a lot with a little.
Yeah. He's very good at, he's a really good downhill runner when he needs to be. And he's just quick on the outside. There was a play where Daniel Jones made a bad decision giving him the ball. And then he gets shut down in the backfield, but then ends up going back about 2 yards and cutting ahead for the first down. And it was I think it was like a 4th and 2 or something. And I was just like, holy crap. Millie Miz, what's going on, man? Great to have you here. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions, make sure to throw your question in the chat and we will get to it.
You're new. We're gonna hook it up for you, man. Come on down. Hit us with the good stuff. Anything you can think of, man. Glad you're here. Show some love out there. If you're new, let us know, by the way. At least let me know for sure. Classic seems to know everybody in this space.
I know a lot of you guys.
I'm still getting there.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. I know what good, bad, ugly. What else you want to think?
I mean, the biggest news is, Malik Neighbors leaving the game with a concussion at the very end. He will be, they said it was head and neck, and then he also had the concussion. He did roll on his neck on one of the catches that he made. So I know that was a little bit of a bother to him on top of that. So honestly, I think that in this particular case, we have a 10-day window till Seattle, but we are traveling to Seattle. So I do think that's something to keep an eye on. Most games that someone leaves with a concussion, it's very rare for them to come back for the next one. So we do have an extra time. You're not really in a
position where you need to bring him back. Is the fan in you like, guys, what are we doing? Let's get a better pick next year and let's not risk this guy. What are we doing?
Honestly, I mean, I always want to win, but at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, I think Wandell is more than suited to handle what needs to happen if need be. And they just kind of need to move forward. I mean, there's not much you can really do about it. Neighbors is a hell of an athlete. You don't want to make it worse. So just kind of cut your losses and move forward. I mean, Seattle's a good defense. We're going to have probably a tough time against, but we'll wait and see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting type of game. So, but that's really the ugly part of it. The bad was really just, like we were talking about with the Cowboys, not being able to do much. So other than that, let's move on. I don't want to have to go too much into this. It's going to be a long day if we keep doing that.
Fair enough. I know you always ask me like, "Hey, how you feeling about the Bears after they got
I get it. I like it.
I gotta know. I like the Bears. You like the Giants. There's going to be a lot of nasty conversations we might have to
have. Maybe. I think we both have a good. I think we both have a good idea of each team, and we're pretty good with that. So let's get into our start sits for this week. We're gonna start the day with the Saints and the Falcons. First and foremost, though, we wanted to give you guys our props list. Like I said, we're going to be doing one prop for each game. So each of us have at least one prop for everybody. So far, last week, we were 14-11 in our props. We ended up winning 14, lost 11 of them. Current season wins, all 3 weeks. We are 26-22 win-loss ratio. So we're doing pretty well with that. Very happy. I didn't forget because I didn't move on yet. Damn, roster. In the chat, trying to run things from afar. I know what I'm doing, bro. I got this.
Appreciate the love, though, man. Rasta, what you think about the 26-22 over here, man? Just a couple pro sports bettors, no problem.
Exactly.
Printing money over here. Honestly, I'm feeling really good about our props. I feel like we haven't forced anything just yet. It's all felt really good. It's way more fun to talk with somebody else about a prop and how often we're like stealing each other's props. It's kind of nice. I'm looking forward to maybe paying a water bill or something.
There you go. So let's move on to the Saints and the Falcons. Falcons are favored by 3 currently. The over/under is 41. So just for everybody to know, biggest news that we have so far is Chris Olave. He popped up with a hamstring on Friday. This is going to be a little bit of a conversation that we're going to have, but we also have Kamara, who's going to be questionable in this game. He has ribs and a hip injury. Taysom Hill is coming back from injury. He wasn't on the injury report, so that's a good sign. But we have a lot of great, fantasy options in this particular matchup. We have Drake London, Bijan Robinson. Is Kyle Pitts a start? I don't know.
I think so. Only because you're getting 3 and 4 out of like Kelsey and Andrews. It's more of a what else do you have? I'm not gonna run out like a Tyler Conklin over Pitts. Even just the chance that Pitts comes down with a touchdown versus a random tight end on snap share alone. We might be back to the old. Remember back in the day, it was just either your tight end had a touchdown or they didn't. Right? Remember back in the old school standard days, that's literally all the tight end position was. You wanted 2 catches for a touchdown was just fine. If we're back to that, I still want it on a team that's it's not about red zone trip so much as like, are they a red zone weapon? Are they going to be in that part of the field? I think Pitts, you still have to start him. He doesn't feel good, but I mean, what's he ranked on the season? He's nothing
crazy. I don't
You'd think
he's
he was
top.
worse, but everyone else is just bad. So I think you run him out. And you just don't waste your waiver priority or your fab too much on cycling in a tight end every single week, because you're not going to be happy the entire season with the way things are right now.
Oh, 100%. And, I agree with you. I think in some scenarios, you have no choice but to play your particular players like that. I do think in this particular scenario, with Chris Olave being hurt is really going to kind of change up what's going to happen on the Saints side of the ball. He popped up on the injury report today. He injured it today at practice. They're considering him questionable for the game. Now, my opinion on that is he's most likely not playing. So I would think of him as not being active. Don't worry, come back to the show on Sunday, and I'll tell you guys about if he's active or inactive and what to do. But I'm going to tell you right now on a Friday, I think Rashid Shaheed is the guy that you're putting in your lineup. I do think that Taysom Hill is a viable option as somebody to use in a pinch. He's more of a really low flex play if you need it, or just, one of those, I'm just going to put in a tight end for no reason, because really tight ends don't matter, at least for the last few weeks, or at least until we get to tight end week. But do you think that Rashid is I wanted to go back to Shaheed. So do you think Shaheed is like a flash in the pan for this team, or is he really the real thing? Because he had a lot of balls that were thrown to him last week that were deep right to him, and he had a hard time with everything. Do you really think that he is the real deal, and like last week was a fluke?
I think in terms of like talent and pedigree, I can't call him like the real deal because he's not a complete player.
Fair
but
enough.
His skill sets are very good at what he does, and he's not just a deep threat. But look, he is mostly a deep threat. But the important thing is he's not just a deep threat. He is a very, very good deep threat in an offense with a quarterback that throws a pretty good deep ball and isn't afraid to, and has a high number of pass attempts. So when you combine those factors, I think his situation combined with his, above average talent for what he does is pretty impactful. So I think he's, for me, he's definitely a start. We haven't seen multiple weeks in a row of him just goosing or being completely uninvolved. I'd need to see more of those in order for me to consider benching him. I mean, the nice thing is if he hits, he doesn't just score you 10 points. He scored well over. Yeah. So I'd rather embrace the volatility, and kind of stay with him from how am I playing fantasy? I'm definitely playing him season long, looking at Dynasty. I think he's pretty real. Kamara is going to get more banged up the longer the season goes. I don't think his efficiency stays as good. It's one of those he can't keep getting away with it. I mean, Joe Mixon's still doing it somehow, so maybe Kamara can too. But I do think there's a situation of he's the healthiest on the team sometimes. They're going to have weapons that get injured, and I think regardless of game script or whatever, it's a good free touchdown that I think they're going to scheme up deep shots every single game for him in a way that they don't for other players in the NFL. Yeah. Or there's some games where they just don't, it's not there. Right. So I think he's pretty real overall. I'd like to see at least a little bit more of a 2-3 catch for 20, 30 yard floor. I wish I don't think that's there, but the injury of Olave fixes that.
I want to see more targets and more just usability in general. Like I don't want to just see him be the 9-barrel guy and the boomer bust. Then he reminds me of Gabe Davis. So, it's one of those things where, yes, he can break a top off a defense anytime. But being involved on a down per down, or just every down is what would be incredibly helpful. What's going on, Albert? Great to have you here, man. Always a friend of the show, always watching us, always enjoying, man. Love having Albert here. Other guys that I wanted to kind of just bring up real quick. Drake London finally had a bigger game. Is this the new normal for him, or will he be going back down to earth? He is facing Marshawn Lattimore in this defense. What do you think?
I don't know how I got to be honest. I haven't watched done the every snap of this game to kind of get a sense for how this team's running its offense. I think the Falcons are one to watch for me because their offense doesn't seem very predictable yet. And so that's where I want to see, like, Bijan's usage isn't where I thought it might be. London's usage isn't where I thought it might be. But really, it's a symptom of, like, the overall offense just isn't exploding every single week because we thought they might, but that just never happens. I'd like to see who's consistent, who's a flash in the pan, how that kind of plays out. I think Drake London's more new normal is a higher target share. Okay. Questioning how good Kirk is going to be at getting him the ball. But we'll see.
Way better last week.
He definitely looked better last week for sure. I mean, it's a bigger boon that they're not just giving Bijan the rock 25 times. That would really cut into, I think, London's production. I think they know they need to figure out the passing game. I think London permanently, I think that wide receiver 1 is just, that's not in the cards. He needed to have a start like Neighbors for that to be realistic.
He's definitely a 2 now.
It doesn't feel like they're ever going to run a football game where, hey, we're just going to give London 10 targets. It just doesn't seem like it's in the range of outcomes. His touchdown ceiling is going to need to skyrocket, and I don't see it with all those weapons, but I do think he has a pretty safe floor. Yeah. So he's more in the wide receiver 2 range for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're good runouts. They're what I've seen, they're a good outside run team, and they pretty much just keep running the ball left, right, and outside every time. And just, they combined, a lot of Bijan and Algier and just keep going. They kind of just muddle up the field a little bit. They get to like the 40 and then they can't really move forward. Thankfully, they have Koo, who can really, put a field goal through. So honestly, that's kind of how they've been moving. Darnell Mooney's been a lot more involved.
Yeah, and he looks great.
He's always been a very good route runner. He's very underrated. Very, very clean route. I think he's recovered from his particular lower leg injury that he had, where he broke, the high ankle or the fibula break that everyone keeps getting. I think he's a year removed from that, and he looks fantastic. So let's get into our props real quick. I have my prop, and I just talked about him 2 seconds ago. Darnell Mooney. I'm gonna be hitting the higher than 3.5 receptions. That's going to be my prop for this one.
I like that a lot, actually, because he's not a player that you would typically take a receiving over for, being known as a faster deep threat, but he seems to be kind of a deeper safety valve in a weird way. He's just, I think he has probably, I'd want to look up the separation scores, but I feel like the coverage he draws compared to his route running ability and just individual speed is probably a pretty big mismatch, and he's just going to have a lot of free targets where 3.5 is probably free. That line probably needs to move to 4. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the floor for the rest of the season. That's great. And would have been mine had you not gotten there before me. Again, super sweet.
I'm always going to get you.
I'll be quick because I'll tell you, this is my least favorite game to bet on the slate. I don't have a good feel for it. A lot of injuries. Game scripts could be weird.
Low over under.
Honestly, my favorite bet's just smashing the under because I feel like it could be an ugly as shit game.
Yeah.
Being totally honest with you, I don't want to put $1 on it if I had to. Because I can't take the Mooney bet. Drake London higher than 57.5 receiving yards. I like that just in general as a wide receiver 1 who I think the team is going to try to have like a real game for.
Yeah.
I think that's too low of a number in an average game script for that to happen reliably. So I'm just going to take I think career long, he's going to average higher than that. So I'm going to take the higher than that.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back to Millie Miz here. They're trying to use him like, cup and just, the shit just ain't working. I get it. They use him a lot in motion, which has been helpful to get him out of, particular coverages and stuff, which has been sort of helpful. But honestly, we'll have to wait and see. He's definitely more of a wide receiver 2 moving forward.
The only thing I will say in his favor, though, is I like to have veteran quarterbacks paired with like my young elite wide receiver, only because I feel like the veteran quarterback will, over the course of weeks, find a way to figure out how to get their star 100%. Involved in a way that's not just like, coach, what do I do to get this guy open?
No,
they'll figure it out. I just think it's going to be some growing pains, but I would much rather have an older veteran like him or Carr
100%.
Versus like a younger guy that has some higher ceiling, but isn't quite there on his ability to read how NFL is played. In the
100%. And this game is going to be like that. It's going to be just 2 old school, older quarterbacks that can't really move. And they're just really going to be passing the ball, and it's going to be a fun day. I think it's going to be an interesting type of game to watch. I'm going to be checking it out on myself.
I like that. It's a good NFL game of football.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Bengals at the Panthers. Cincinnati is favored by 4.5 points here. The over-under is 47.5. So this is one of the higher games on the slate this week. So the guys that we're going to be starting, of course, we're definitely going to be starting, Chase, Higgins, Burrow. We already know those three without thinking twice. But let's get on the other side of the ball. We got to see last week, we got to see the Panthers have Andy Dalton in their lineup. Yeah, I know they faced the Raiders. It wasn't really, the best defense they faced, but they did very well in that particular offense. We got to see what, Andy Dalton could do spreading the ball around. So Deontay Johnson, he ended up coming up on the injury report on Thursday with a groin injury. He was back Friday. He's still listed as questionable. He's been dealing with this groin injury for most of the season. So it definitely just most of the offseason into the season. So it's definitely flared up a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he looks like he's going to be on the starting side of questionable. So how are we feeling about Deontay this week?
I'm full fired up on Deontay. Going from like what he was doing to the explosive thing was, I think, pretty significant compared to like, oh, he just had a nice comeback, get right game.
Yeah.
This was oh no, how does Deontay win? He's an amazing route runner. He's got a great separator score. He earns every one of his targets. He's got a quarterback that is less jittery and knows what the difference between NFL Open and College Open. And it turns out, I bet he was NFL Open those first couple of games too. Yeah. I'm fully firing him up. He's a strong wide receiver too for me. I think he's going to, with Thielen out too, unproven rookies that I like them. Well, Mingo's not a rookie, but he's kind of a rookie. You know what I mean? Like, he's just the guy there. He's just the only guy there right now, and I think he's got a quarterback that can feed him. So I'm not predicting the same thing as last week, but not just a regular game. I have him for 12 plus fantasy points.
Okay. What about Andy Dalton? Is Andy Dalton a QB1 starter this week, or is he just more of a guy that you're willing to throw in that super flex spot to kind of QB2 type thing?
I'm not doing him this week just for I know we don't really have a streaming quarterback segment or anything. At least not me and you, right? I'm sure they talked about it earlier in the week for waivers. I think there's better options, but I'm keeping an eye on him for matchup dependent stuff. I do think this is a weird team because next week things could all change with the Panthers in particular, right? I don't know if we'll get into that too much, but I just don't know where the identity of the team is. I think there's probably usually a better option than Dalton because his floor is kind of non-existent on a team that would like to run the ball. So not yet. I need 2 more good games from him.
Okay. Another guy on, kind of questioning about, because his stats have been crazy the last few weeks, and that's Andre Yoshibash. This guy has had 3 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. He had 2 in week 2. He's been getting consistently 6 to 7 targets each game. Is he worth a roster spot at this point? Is he a flex option to you?
It's tough for me, right? Because for you to win a title, make the playoffs even, and then go on to win, you don't really want to do it through the ugliest fashion, right? And he's a player you see what's the overall upside versus if T is healthy and Chase is healthy and they're doing their thing, there's no way he should be that involved as the third option. So for that logic, I think there's slightly better options in competitive leagues, right? Because in competitive leagues, honestly, he's still got a decently high roster percentage. Is not crazy. I don't want to say I'm out on him because I like him.
Yeah.
I'm just generally I'm not chasing the numbers on this one. I think by next week, he could have a 2 for 3 for 31 yards and be droppable pretty much immediately. And I feel like it's going to bounce to and fro a little bit too much. I'm not there on him yet.
Okay. What about the running back options for this game? We got Zach Moss and Chuba Hubbard for this particular matchup. Do you like either one of these in a flex spot, in your lineup?
I like them both, actually. Okay. I was huge on Chuba in the preseason. I needed the offense to not be led by Bryce Young. I just didn't know that at the time, right? The philosophy, I think, was correct on Chuba. And if I don't even know if it's a mistake, but I dropped him in a lot of places, just thinking I'm not going to be the last person to drop him. And I think that could have changed a little bit. So I'm firing them both up. Moss is in my props, actually. I think this could be a pretty run-heavy script, honestly, for both teams. And I like Moss a lot.
Yeah,
I
I like
like
him too.
Moss' chances to fall into the end zone here are pretty big. His chance to get high volume here is pretty big. Chuba, I didn't know he was going to catch that many passes the other week.
Yeah.
That was like, holy, okay, shot up my rankings. So that's why he's like over like a Yoshi Boss.
Yeah. Okay. And honestly, I mean, the only other position we didn't talk about was tight end, and that's really because both teams don't really utilize the tight end except for the Bengals, who actually currently have Mike Gesicki as tight end 7 on the year currently. So, I mean, I know that anyone can be tight end 7 at this point.
It's a low bar these days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's somebody that you might target if you had a McBride or a Evan Ingram. Are you kind of using him in those scenarios, or otherwise he is
opposite take of Yoshivas? I think this is more consistent. I actually think what he can do on the field, his snap share, how he's utilized, that role doesn't really move. It only gets better. It doesn't really get that much worse, depending on if they want to fire up the rookie at some point, get him involved. If they really would just want to run a 2 system with their 2 stars, right? Tight end's still going to be on the field. I think he's losing a couple snaps too. Is it Eric All? Is that their rookie?
Yeah.
He was getting on the field quite a bit, so that gave me some hesitation on his viability. But he seems to be getting used a lot. It just seems like Burrow wants to throw the ball, and Gesicki's a pretty good route runner, and he's running a lot more routes, not just in line. I was reading something today from someone. Their big point was that Gesicki legitimately lines up outside sometimes. Like, he's a wide receiver.
Oh yeah, no, he was.
So if you just look at tight end, you're like, no, he's gonna get targets. That's his skill set. That's more of what he is. And if this team wants to ramp up,
a QB. He never had a good QB to get him where he needed to be.
And the amount of times he does a Conklin of last year, where it's like, how does this guy just keep getting 6, 7, 8 targets every game? I think he's going to be sneaky. He won't have much in the red zone, but I think he's going to PPR leagues. He's going to be nice. I like him.
Yeah, and the Bengals tend to be one of those teams that kind of get most of their yardage from outside the red zone. They, very rare when they get in there. That
Burrow's doing a lot of 25-yard plus stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's just how they run. So let's get into the props for this. My prop for this particular week is going to be Andy Dalton, more than 4 rushing yards. I think he can do it. He does. He is a little mobile guy. They don't call him the Red Rocket for nothing.
You're killing it on these tiny rushing
right?
bets,
The little rushing.
I got to track it. Carr rushing for over a yard last week was money. I think he had 3 yards, but you got there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I'm going to start following you. You might have a little inside track on these, like not really mobile.
You know what?
They're going to fall forwards.
To me, this one is more along the lines of, the Bengals do have a decent pass rush. They don't have anything crazy, but they can still get to the quarterback. And I do think that they play man more than you think. And for me, Andy knows when to go. And all you got to do is just do a quick little, all I need to do is get the first down half the time. And he's one that can definitely find it and run it out. I did have a secondary prop for this one. It's going to be more than 3.5 receptions for Leggett. I thought that one was going to be something that could hit. So those two are the ones that I'm going to go with. What about you there, Kendall?
Really liked the Leggett. I was early on my Leggett take. I did a higher than on Leggett and before Thielen went on IR. Nice one there. I like that one quite a bit. Negative game script to throw the ball. I'm doing Zach Moss higher than 13 rushing attempts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Should be a positive game script for the
28th against
the running back.
Yeah,
and the DVOA is pretty nice.
Oh yeah,
I do think even like a near 50-50 split, it just feels like he should get there, but it's not a 50-50 split. We still might be treating it that way. I'm seeing the snap share, the way they're utilizing him. I mean, he's not just a 1A, he's the RB1. And I think 13 is just a little bit of a number to take advantage of. Plus matchup, plus DVOA, and a guy who's being looked at as the 1A when really he's just the 1. All stars kind of line up for it to be a pretty plus EV bet.
Yeah, I mean 80% to 20% when it comes to Moss to Chase. So
if you just line up you give me an RB that has the DVOA that he does,
100%.
Right? I don't need to know the name. I just don't need to know the name. This is a portfolio play of most people in the NFL as a starting running back should be able to do this. I got a couple other options in this game in case you want to parlay it with something. And a lot of these underdog picks you have to pair with 1 or 2. I also like Andy Dalton to go higher than 227.5. passing yards. Same idea behind the Moss. I'm just following the full game script of I think Cincinnati's offense is pretty good. They just had a rough start. They always do. We know this. They're going to get it back. So Dalton's going to have to throw often. Hopefully he throws often to Leggett. We both get there. 227 just feels like a low number for a guy who's going to pass the entire fourth quarter. I feel like he doesn't need a great game to just kind of limp over that line. Yeah. If one happens, the other has a pretty good chance of it too. This one was one I just kept finding more bets that I liked in this game. So if you want to get crazy with like a multiple legger, this is the one I'm the least confident on. But Joe Burrow higher than 23.5 completions. This was just a random one I was looking at. It felt bizarre. I looked at his. Do you think Joe Burrow's been a great quarterback and they've had a great offense this season? Like objectively, I think most people would say like, yeah, but not as good as we thought.
They've been doing a lot better with T. Higgins there, and they've been
better. Do you think there's better days ahead or behind him though?
No, I think they have good days ahead of them. I think they've always had issue with the line. Line has been beat up. They lost Trent Brown, which is going to be a little bit of a hurt for them. But overall, I think that they have a solid group that they can start using, and I think overall their offense is going to be fine. I don't think it's like an elite, up there with all the other guys where they were a couple of years ago with like Mixon and stuff. But they are definitely a viable offense that I think for something like this with 23 completions, he can definitely do without a problem.
The stat I looked up was just like last season. I think he only went under that number one time outside of games with injuries where there was backups that had like meaningful snaps, basically.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I'm like, basically in a regular game, this never happens outside of injury. This year, it's just weird because he had 21 completions week 1 against New England in a weird game script that is not normal, and then 23 last week. So this was one of my like, I don't often go deep in analytics, but I went deep on this one. I'm like, this seems free. What am I missing?
Yeah. Okay. Understood. So let's move on to the Rams and the Bears. Please make sure you guys are throwing your questions in the chat. Don't worry. We're not going to forget your questions. We're going to answer them at the very end. Also, if you have a question you want answered right this moment, make sure you guys are using that super chat and we will answer it right away. So the Rams are going to be heading to Chicago to face the Bears. Bears are favored by 3 in this one, which is quite awesome. Well, I know Kendall's loving this.
Buddy, we're favored. Somebody's wrong, but
right. The over-under for this game is 40.5. So a middling, middle of the road type of over-under for this game. I have more questions than I have answers for this one, just because there's just so many things going on in this. You're definitely starting guys like you're starting Kyron Williams. You have to. You're going to have to start guys. Demarcus Robinson, I guess, is the best option here. Now, I think that's my biggest question for this Rams offense. What wide receiver do you want more in this offense? After we got 2 weeks without Kupp and without Puka, we have an idea of what they're doing, maybe. But who do you like more in this offense?
DeMarcus. I know there was some hype over with Tyler Johnson.
Tutu. Well, I was going to say Tutu Atwell.
Well, Tutu. We'll get to Tutu. I'll go real quick. The two of them. Like Tyler was the early popular choice. Turns out he was just schemed open a little bit as the track star because no one was, he was college open instead of NFL open. So we had all the time to do all the things. He's not a very good player though, in my opinion, outside of being able to run fast. I think we saw that in terms of even when he had his decent game. I looked into it. The snap share for DeMarcus was better. Just all the background analytics were better for him. He's clearly the one while no one else is there. I think he's going to have the highest target share. It's all the things, right? So it clearly DeMarcus for me. What I'm saying is it's not particularly close. Now, when you get to Tutu, I think Tutu has the ability to do 4 for 4 for 120 and do some big stuff. We saw that was at the beginning of last year for 3 or 4 weeks. The same thing happened. Tutu was just actually lights out.
It was the end of the year.
He had some pockets. Like, I don't think he's a bad receiver by any means. I still like Tutu. I would rather roster DeMarcus just because I think DeMarcus has a real floor where I don't think Tutu has much of a floor in some
100%.
scripts. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. That being said, if DeMarcus is rostered, I would be willing to take a shot on Tutu over some grosser like running back situations. because I think the upside there's still like legitimate 100-yard upside for him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he had 5 targets and 4 and 5 targets in the last 2 weeks. He was out on the field after all the injuries that ended up happening. He's been on the field for 74% of the snaps, which is huge. Him and Demarcus Robinson are basically the two wide receiver sets. We're really not seeing a ton from Jordan Whittington yet. He's kind of used more in like a gadget package type thing where he's used out of the backfield on screens here and there.
Doing a lot of special teams still, I think.
Exactly. And then Tyler Johnson is involved. So that's a great breakdown of that. On your Bears side of the ball, is this a smash play for DeAndre Swift this week?
I keep saying that it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be a smash spot for DeAndre Swift this season in rushing yardage. I think they're still going to fire him up in the passing game.
I hope so.
Because it's a rookie quarterback's friend. It's just, I think we need to get him into just more successful plays.
Yeah.
Instead of having this like that gets on anybody as mentally tough as you are. So I do think we need to get Swift more involved. I don't want us paying how many mil we gave him we gave him a lot of money.
3 year at least.
Coach is talking about wanting to get involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
At some point, someone's going to clip and be like, you rolled him out here to throw the ball. You don't throw the ball to him. So what's up? It definitely hurts him that Roschon looks solid and is getting some looks. I think they're going to split a little bit more. But Swift, I think I'm out on him for like our running game's probably not going to work the way I think I want it to this season. But I think he'll get involved in the passing game.
Okay. Another guy I wanted to talk about real quick was Cole Kmet. Tight end 1 last week. I mean,
that was big.
He had a monster game overall. Do you see that do you see that continuing on moving forward with the Bears and how they utilize him, try to utilize him a little more with Keenan Allen being out? I know I know Keenan's listed as questionable and, we'll see what happens. Most likely won't play. They're doing pretty well without him. Not to say that he wouldn't want to be there, but, they have, Roma Dunze, who's been doing fantastic in his role. And, DJ doing what he's doing. Like, I mean, he's got to hold it down for now. But is Cole Kmet a really big part of this offense right now?
I want to say yes. You have no idea how badly I want to say yes.
Yeah.
But the disciplined fantasy player, not NFL fan, says, I'm not starting Caleb. I don't love the offense. Okay. I do like their defense.
Yeah, the defense looks good.
This is a lot of script for a team where I don't want their tight end. I don't think we have many red zone trips. We talked about it earlier in the show. Yeah. That's a big deal for tight ends that don't have a massive, consistent role. I don't think he's got that. I don't think our red zone trips are there. I don't think our pass attempts and completions are there. I don't think Caleb's getting to, third, fourth read situations successfully enough. I need him back blocking a little bit more. Let's unlock Swift before we unlock Kmet a little bit, I think. So I just don't believe in our overall passing offense yet with how many good mouths. I'm high on DJ Moore. I'm very high on Rome. I don't see how there's enough volume to go around outside of some touchdown upside for him, and I don't think he's that. So I have to say no, but it does hurt a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, being consistent with 11 targets is unheard of. I don't see that being a every week thing. But I do like what I get. I like what I can see that they're involving him a little more, which I'm a little, I'm not shocked, but I'm kind of glad that they're looking to add another part of this particular offense, and that being, Cole Kmet. So hopefully we see that moving forward. It definitely showed that Caleb, a little bit better this week, overall. I don't think I'm starting any one of these QBs in any fashion this week, just because
Agreed.
I think both defenses are good enough to be able to handle it. And I think overall their floor is unfortunately too low for me to want to start.
Most of us are playing in a 12-team format. There's 36 quarterbacks. It's a math.
I have someone
thing.
else.
All right. I'm sorry.
So let's get into our props here. My prop for this game is DeAndre Swift higher than 1.5 reception. And it's really what we're talking about before, trying to get him more involved in the passing game, which is where he excels in. And I think the game script for this is going to be a little bit right down the middle. I think it's going to be something that's going to keep, one's going to score, one's going to have to come back. One's going to have to score, one's going to have to come back. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth. And I do think that it's one of those scenarios where they're going to have to do a lot of screen passes to the outside on an aggressive defense when they load up those blitz packages and stuff. I think that Swift can be really in for a good passing game in this one.
Yeah, I just think the line just feels weird to me. Like it feels like it should be 2. It just feels like it should be 2.
Oh, I got it on a good
receptions
number.
is a free square for you. So yeah. I know as like the fantasy analyst, you kind of feel gross when you're like, everything in like my like 101 level fantasy brain says this is a free money.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But I've been there 100 times. Like
I got the one last week with Jonathan Taylor at 1.5, and he didn't even reach it. So it's a very they do this a lot because they know people are going to go for those. I like it. I think that in this game particularly, he can do well.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. I don't think he's getting 4 or 5. Okay, I just don't think we have enough volume. But like we should be able to get to 2. 2 and 3 is like my sweet spot there. So nice number, nice bet. I like it a lot, and I need you to be right because if you're not right, the hell happened. Right. We'll talk about that later though. My prop is going to be Rome O'Dunes higher than 35.5 receiving yards. And if you want to go ahead and combine that with some other bets, I like the correlation with higher than 2.5 receptions there as well. So however you wanna incorporate those, I like both of them quite a bit. I don't think Rome's gonna have the big game he did last week, but I think Caleb likes looking his way. It's nice that as long as the ball isn't in the dirt, he can catch it. He's got a great catch radius. Already found him in the red zone. I think his target floor has probably gone up permanently. All that time with Keenan out of the lineup and him in it, I think it probably permanently ups his snap share a little bit. Keenan might just be like kind of permanently a little broken right at this point. Yeah. You see that sometimes you just get to that point where you can't stay healthy enough through the rehab. When practice is too much on your body to get to the game. We could see that with a guy like Keenan. Maybe, I hope not. It's not good for me, but that's why for all those reasons, I'm pretty high on Rome. I think the team clearly saw we had our best version of Caleb last week with Rome doing his thing. That'll be a thing. So it's such a small bar, 35.5 and then 2.5. Doesn't feel like he'll smash it. But I also just traded for Rome in Dynasty, so we're just going all in. Let's go.
I like it. I like it a lot. So remember, guys, if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. We're going to be answering them all at the very end in our live Q&A session. Also, if you want your question answered, write that in there. Make sure you guys are using the super chat, and we will stop the show just to answer your questions. So don't forget to do that.
Might even make an exception. If you tell us that somebody in chat subscribed to us today because you brought them in, I'll answer any questions you have for that. If you subbed today, I would. If you sub today, we'll answer some questions for you. We're in a generous mood.
Ooh, I like it. I like switching it up like that. I like it. So let's move on to the Vikings and the Packers. Packers are favored by 2.5 in this game. The over-under is 43.5. I mean, there's not a ton to talk about, and really it's only because of one thing and one thing only. And that's who's going to be playing quarterback. Right now, Jordan Love had a limited week. He went through the whole week. Everyone seems pretty optimistic that he's going to play. Now, a lot of people are, a lot of people also, want to be cautious and, no one's really giving their hand away at this point. But I'm not 100% sure. Perry's funny. He subbed 2 years ago. This is that. Now,
I think I said today, but if someone said I subbed yesterday, you'd put me in a real bind there. Perry, right. hop on next. Get some people over here.
Yeah. So in this case, it's really trying to figure out who the QB is going to be, and then from there we can figure out what we want to do. So let's talk about it in that capacity. So in this case, if Malik Willis plays, are we going to be playing any of the wide receivers for the Packers?
I would only play Reed if I were to play anybody.
Fair enough.
And it would be a low-end flex.
Okay. And I like that answer, honestly. I mean, it's exactly what I was thinking. But now let's throw it to if Jordan Love plays. One, do you play Jordan Love if he's active?
If he's active, do you play him? Well, so the real question there is like, who's your backup, right? Did you find a really good?
Fair enough.
You've had weeks to figure it out. So if you're streaming, you've probably been able to settle on somebody. In my opinion, when he went down, I still think you were able to go after some leftover shares of Mayfield, which was one I'm still pretty high on. I think there's enough there that you're probably pretty happy with your backup. I don't think I'm running him out. If he's healthy, it's really close. It probably comes down. It's less about love and it's more about how confident am I in my backup? Am I like, am I streaming Andy Dalton at this point? Is that where we're at? Rodgers was a big stream for me last week. Rodgers was on a lot of waiver wires. I like his floor ceiling combination. So if there's people like that available, if I can start a Rodgers, who was my other favorite there? I think there's other options that I feel have a consistent enough floor. I would go with them. Maybe that quarterback's not winning me my week, but honestly, do you think Jordan Love's dropping 30, like a 30 ball on his first day back? I think it's less likely than him just having a fine game. And I think I can probably do better than a fine game from a ceiling upside with what I have available to me.
All right. And that's fair. I mean, honestly, I'm probably not starting him either. I currently have him at 21 if he is starting. So there's definitely more and better options out there. In this case, if he does play, are you starting any of those wide receivers like Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs? Like, are they even viable options at all? Or are you just out on the wide receiver options for the Packers this week?
Look at me, I'm mostly out. Honestly, I'm mostly out.
Same thing.
Reed's the only one I'm really considering if I'm being real, but that's
okay.
Because honestly, it's a weird situation where like if he plays, I'm still only in the Reed. If he doesn't play, I'm still only in Reed. Christian Watson just doesn't have a floor yet. I need to see more games. Sorry, he's enough. A DFS only play that I need to see more because I'm flipping coins with a guy like Watson instead of making a calculated choice. Yep. And I think we're better than flipping coins at this point in our fantasy careers. So it's just not a play I'm going to make. And I'm definitely not doing that with a low floor, low ceiling and Dobbs, where Dobbs thrives in high over unders. He thrives. And if points are going to be scored, he's going to be a big part of the offense. Like he has got a great floor with no over-unders high.
Yeah. He's the consistent. He's the possession guy compared to all the others. They have the possession guy. They have the deep threat. Then they also have the gadget. Those are the three things that they have. So
I'll throw this out there just as a last minute. It's more of a part of a prop thing. I guess we can get into that here in literally just a second here. But this is a game I'm hammering on some random DFS stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm taking some like aggressive bets because I think the over under at 43.5, this just feels like one of those weird NFC North matchups where you think it's going to be what's what we're known for up here in the North, right?
Yeah.
It's cold. We run the ball. That's kind of the thing. I think this is sneaky, like a game that could be an absolute just like 40-50. It could be something stupid.
Yeah.
With Jordan Love even in tow doing his thing, like Jacobs is pretty good at what he does. It's the only thing that's going to be pause is the Packers' strength right now is technically their running back if they have no quarterback, and the Vikings have a good run D. And the over-under is pretty low, so Vegas doesn't think it's going to be a blowout. But I might take my like Christian Watson, JJ type of lineup, into DFS later on. I think this is one, if you guys are putting together some tournament DFS lineups, I think this is going to be a game that no one wants to touch because no one knows what the hell to do with it. And those are great games. Like if it ends up being a smash game, you have no ownership on it. And you're going to absolutely clean up house.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the only guys that I'm looking to play are Aaron Jones, JJ and Jacobs. Those are the only three that I would ever touch in this particular matchup. One question that I wanted to bring up, which, is relevant to what we're talking about. We got Josh Jacobs or Derrick Henry in this particular matchup. And to be fair, I have this question in one of my leagues where I have Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. Now I'm running with Derrick Henry. I'm a little bit nervous about it, to be quite honest. Reason being, I think that what we've seen in the last few weeks is that they are involving him a ton when they are in positive game script. They were beating up on the Cowboys. They left him in and he did his thing. But when they were behind against the Chiefs, he didn't come on the field. And you saw Justice Hill almost I was shocked to see the numbers after the fact. And, you know, you look at their particular team right now and their particular snap shares. I mean, hold on. I'm just going to bring it up real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I was looking at,
I mean, 59%, 44, 46, 46. Justice Hill getting 54%. And it only switched because they were doing so well. So for me, they've been in negative game script, and you don't see Derrick Henry. They're facing the Bills, who are going to be one of their better defenses that they're going against. Bills are currently in this particular year, they're about 25th against the run. So it's a good matchup for this particular group. So maybe they get involved, but if they go behind, you're not going to see Henry. And Jacobs, you're going to see quite often because they have no one else. I mean, they have Jacobs running at 52%, but Emmanuel Lewis has been stepping in there too. These are two really difficult, guys to gauge. I'm just leaning with the guy that has more touchdown upside, in my opinion, and that's Derrick Henry. So, what about you?
That's a really close one. Like the question, I'm sure it's the question I have though, right? Is like, what? I don't have a lot of format situations here. Help me understand, in what world aren't you starting both? So,
yeah.
What? How is your flex position so strong that you're benching one of these guys? Because in most leagues I'm in,
this is Dynasty.
If you're flexing this, you already won. Yeah. Like, you're good. You're gonna beat the crap out of some people if that's your roster, right? Well, you're in such a great spot. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm curious, Julian, if you're listening in the chat there, help me understand give me a third and fourth option that you're starting over these guys, or is it like a 10-team league where everyone's pretty strong, and it's literally just down to this.
So KJ is in this particular league that I am in with Josh Jacobs and Henry, and he hoards running backs. I do. I have.
We should call you Standard Mike instead of Classic Mike. Would that be more? Yeah,
probably. I mean, at this point, I have Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Harris, Najee. I have Monty, James Cook, Henry, and Jacobs. So yeah, I have a pretty fun lineup in that situation. I am facing KJ this week, so good luck, KJ. Kinda.
Get it, Kyle. Get him. I like it.
No, we got it. Non-PPR Mike. Yeah, that's probably more my speed anyway. I like the non-mobile quarterback and the running back. So anyway, let's move right along to our props for this particular group. Wait, before we run on to props, Julian dropped his stuff. It's a 10-team. I got Madison, Jacobs, Henry, and Taylor. Mason. Oh, that's a monster running back lineup.
Yeah, wow. Holy crap.
So
yeah, Mason and Taylor are your
Mason
1-2.
and Taylor, and then he's going. Yeah, that makes sense.
Look, I have a feeling your team is probably projected to win on most weeks, even in 10-team. Yeah. That's pretty strong. I'm going to take the don't lose your lineup week and go Jacobs over Henry.
Yeah, win your week.
Only because I think Henry's a little more boom bust. I'm taking I think my average projected scores usually are higher, and I just want to take Jacobs is getting you 10 points.
Yeah.
Henry might not. Henry might also get you 30. Jacobs probably won't. So I'm using that lineup matchup against hey, is my opponent the number one in the league or a mid-tier team? That's how I'm making my decision.
I think I'm going to lean more Henry for this particular pick, just because in this particular metric, the Bills are 25th against the run so far. And, they might be a good defense, but without Matt Milano and a few other key pieces, they've been really falling apart. They also don't have Terrell Bernard at the moment.
That's what worries me. Is it's a money matchup for Henry.
This is a big matchup for him.
This matchup,
I think
the Vikings are good.
Vikings are run 10th against the run. So I feel a little bit better about Henry in this scenario. So I'm going Henry for your particular flex.
You might have swayed me. I have a feeling that I'm going to talk myself into Henry by the time Sunday comes around, because I can't stomach Henry 28 points.
Yeah. Again, I had him on my bench last week and I still won, but it is what it is. So the next prop we got is from me, and that's going to be lower than 3 rush attempts for Sam Darnold. So I'm going to hit the lower on this one.
I love this bet.
I figured, why not hit the lower? I don't see him running a ton. Yeah, he might have, and that's I'm assuming for, ones that are, even scrambles. Like anytime he runs past,
he's got a little shimmy to him. You guys see that the sleeper put out the highlights of like, are we going to get this Sam Darnold where he just peels one off? I got to be honest. I was like, when did this happen? Because I didn't remember it. Yeah. I had to rewatch it like 100 times. That now that you bring it up though, he does got a little shimmy in him. He's a veteran now. He's been in the league like 10 years apparently. But.
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna go with the lower than 3 rush attempts and try to, get that one. I think I have an opportunity to get that one. What about for yours?
Everybody else in chat, no one when I joined Get Right told me that Classic Mike, who I was referred to as, well, he hoards running backs, right? Okay, that the same way you're talking about him is like my initial like handshakes with him. Everyone's talking about like, everybody. That's what.
There's a reason I got my name.
I was not introduced to him as the guy that is going to find the most interesting like quarterback rush attempts from a non-rushing. Carr last week, Sam Darnold this week, but you doubled up.
Know.
You also have one more from earlier, I think, right?
I do.
I'll find
the thing
it.
is, I want to know my prop wins early and it's done. I don't want to wait the whole damn game if I have to.
It's the blackout prop. All right. You'll still have memory of it before you hit the floor. That's fantastic. I love the bet. I didn't find it. I didn't even know it was on the card.
It might have been even taken away, to be honest.
Yeah, who knows if it's a legal wager at this point?
I have no idea. I put these in at one point and then hope that they stay.
Hey man, if there's one place you want to get canceled, it's your sports book. You're doing good things if that's where you get kicked off of. Just for the sake of time, I'll keep us moving here. I like Aaron Jones higher than 13.5 rushing attempts.
I love it.
It's just kind of a number script sort of situation. I think Aaron Jones is the alpha RB1. Ty Chandler
100%.
gets some looks. He had a lot of looks last week. I think the looks last week are going to lower the number for this week, but I think the average script for the Packers is going to be Aaron Jones 14 to 16 times type of a game. It's the vengeance game, though. That's what's put me over the top. I would have made this play if it wasn't the vengeance play already, you don't take the guy who just got traded away from that team off the field. It's like disrespectful.
Oh, no.
You're going to give him the snaps and you're going to give him the opportunity, like at a bare minimum. And I think he's going to get 15 carries. What he does with them, I don't know. But do I think they give him? There's no way they're just going to give him 10 rushing attempts and have that be the story and the headlines and the news going.
And he'll get
targets.
He'll get a whole bunch of everything. He's going to have a game. 60%. He's averaging 60%. Snap share. So he's fine.
Yeah, wish there was a bonus on it. The revenge narrative games. I wish some more people would get on that. Maybe we can get a bonus code. Underdog, if you're listening, can we get like a promo code for us just on Aaron Jones? Right,
just for a bonus. All right, moving on to our next game. And remember, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, make sure you guys are throwing your questions in the chat, and we're going to get to them at the very end. I promise. If you want your question answered right away, give it. Do those super chats. They're really helpful. Or, as Kendall said, if you just subbed right now and you have a question, we'll answer that question too.
So money's tight for everybody, right? But if you can reach out to one other person in your league,
it's always nice.
Helps us out a ton. We appreciate you. We appreciate you guys for hopping in and joining.
We just enjoy the chat. Believe me, it's fun. So next we have the Jaguars at the Texans. Texans are favored by 6 in this particular matchup. They are 45.5 or 44.5 is a huge number. I love it. A lot of these guys we already know that we're going to be playing here. Stroud, Diggs, Schultz, those are the big ones that we're definitely going to be starting. The biggest question marks we have for this game are Nico Collins and Joe Mixon. Both of these guys were, Mixon's been coming back from a high ankle sprain, and Nico Collins popped up on the injury report on Thursday with a limited practice with the hamstring. This damn hamstring bug is creeping up on everybody.
Thursday hamstrings too. Jeez, it's one thing if it's early, but are you of the camp? I'm of the camp that the Thursday hamstring
is never a good thing.
I don't care if they're healthy. I'm not getting Keenan Allen again. It won't happen.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. So for this particular matchup, he's going to be fine. He practiced in full on Friday. He's good to go. I'm not worried about him being active or inactive in this game. I think they're going to play him without question. This is a division rivalry.
Yeah.
They're going to want to play. He's at home. He does very good at home. If you look at his stat line, his home line is insane. So I don't think a lot is going to keep him out of this game. They might limit his snaps, and he might not be 100% out there all the time, but they're going to definitely get him involved, and hopefully early. The other biggest question mark is Joe Mixon. He is considered questionable. He did practice limited on Friday. It looks like they're going to ramp him up a little bit. They still gave him the questionable tag. Cam Akers is still available. Dameon Pierce is not going to play in this game. It looks like he had no, do not practice, even though they kept saying that he was, optimistic to play, which is ridiculous. Tank Dell is going to be out for this game with a chest injury. So they're limited in a few other scenarios. So my big question, let's not ask if they're going to play or not.
Injuries, we're gonna hit you up on Sunday morning anyways. You're gonna tell us what to do.
Come to me on that day.
No sense in conjecture. A lot on the Jag side of the ball, though.
The Jag side is just hard to talk about, and I think we have the most questions here. So in this particular case, Trevor Lawrence, benchable, right? You're not playing him anywhere.
I'm not even buying but just decent over under. I gotta see a good game from him first, man. He's not putting away easier opponents. Yeah. He's not making bad game scripts interesting. He's not. I'm very concerned.
Okay. What are we doing with ETN? He's currently running back 22 on the season, roughly second round pick in most scenarios. You're more than likely going to have to start him. You're not happy about it, but he's been at least 10 fantasy points per game in half point PPR. He's still holding at 70% on the snap shares for the running back. Are you feeling good about playing him this week?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how many bullet points, but we'll just quick. Okay. One, the offense has been absolutely trash.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Right. They can only get better. They cannot get any worse. Okay. They should probably regress to the median even a little bit. Brighter days ahead. And that's not with the player. That's just the overall offensive ecosystem is having an aberrationally low situation here. So that's going to get a little better. Snapshare, still fine. Team still trusts him. Eye test, he's not playing bad. I haven't seen him be like, that was his fault. No, the team doesn't look great. And that running back, oftentimes, running back is always about opportunity, right? 100%. We'll take a bad running back with 20 carries against a great one with 10. It just is what it is. The important thing is last week he had 6 targets, 5 catches or something along those lines. So if they're going to have these negative, crappy game scripts, he's a pass catching specialist. I know the team doesn't utilize him as much, but when they have to, they have to. And so that kind of saved his week last week. 5 catches is not something a lot of running backs can do. I think Rasta in chat earlier brought up that no running back this season has more than 1. Yeah, people only have 1. They don't have 2. So ETN is still an elite pass catcher, and he hasn't been utilized like that. But if you look at Trevor Lawrence's completions, it's not even that ETN's he's a very high percentage of the targets. It's just the targets are so few and far between right now, and they're not even catchable. So I feel gross about owning him and that I had to draft him, but you're still firing him up. You're not looking for other options. He's going to regress to the mean. It's just, he's not the smash play right now.
Okay. What if you're in a situation like we had before with Julian and you have
10 team, everyone's
ETN,
loaded?
Yeah. You have ETN and, Jonathan Taylor with a Josh Jacobs, and
ETN's floor is too high. I don't think he's in that category for me, where he's just he's game script proof. So the Henry argument is kind of moot, right? He's just on the field in either case, right? Okay. He's healthy, he's not injured, and he gets all the use everywhere. He's still a locked and loaded RB2 for me. I would have to see much more collapses everywhere around the team to be like, no, I just can't even anymore,
Okay. Now, we also know that in this particular case for the Jaguars, Evan Ingram is going to be out in this game as well. So who's the viable passing option for this Jaguars, offense? We have really Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas Jr. I'm liking Brian Thomas Jr. What about you?
I'm liking Brian Thomas over Christian Kirk. His skill sets, his ability to get open, to separate, catch 50-50, he kind of just dunks on him across the board.
100%.
And Kirk honestly isn't as good of a route runner as he is. BTJ is a very, very good route runner, in my opinion. His deep ball tracking I thought that was one thing Kirk would have on him. His deep ball tracking Kirk's very strong. Seem to make some slight adjustments just in the way he's running his routes to catch in stride and finish the long touchdown. Mm-hmm. But BTJ's ability to make that catch more consistently, I think, is more valuable. So I think he kind of overtakes him. It's just the offense isn't good enough for either to be tremendously valuable, but at least BTJ is the red zone stuff. So I like Brian Thomas a lot. I think his arrow's pointing way up. I mean, the team's got to go somewhere. If they lose a few more games, they're just going to start making him the alpha and play for next season. So I would expect he's a moonball guy for me. I think he's like, he could have some neighbors like weeks. And the Lawrence owners are desperately praying for that. Can you imagine being a Trevor Lawrence owner, watching, being like, Daniel Jones is making a wide receiver 1 look like a wide receiver 1. Trevor Lawrence, sunshine over here. Why can't you do it?
I don't understand it. They brought in Gabe Davis to kind of open things up a little bit. You would think that they would, do a little more, but they haven't. It's quite, it's quite annoying to see. I do love Brian Thomas overall, and I'm going to go with that. I'm going to move right to our props because that's one of my props. One of my props is higher than 4.5 receptions for Brian Thomas Jr. He's been actively involved in the particular offense. He's out there just as much as everyone else. They've been playing 3 wide receiver sets in most cases just because Evan Ingram's been out a little more. They've been kind of trying to spread the ball out. And one of the guys that Trevor trusts in this case is Brian Thomas Jr. He's been very involved. So that number at 4.5 is very low for me for his particular production. I do think he can lead this team in receptions near the end of the year. So I'm aiming this game right now for this one. So yeah, I'm going to go with Brian Thomas higher than 4.5. What about you?
Love it. Love that one a lot. It feels like it's an aggressive number for the offense, but not an aggressive number for the player
100%.
And the over under and that player's role in this. So it's a good matchup based pick, in my opinion. That like in a different matchup, I'd be like, that's way too much. But I like it a lot here. I'm kind of going with an idea of who kind of grabs some of that target share. For me, it's a great chance for ETN to get it right. I think he's going to catch 5 or 6 passes out of necessity and be kind of a third down option in the passing game in a different way. So I like him higher than 49.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
It's just a very, very low number. I know he's had a low snap share, low attempts, but I think that regresses to the mean, and that's just too low of a number for him historically. And then if you had to pick something on the other side of the ball, because I do think the Texans are going to put up a lot of points in the Jaguars. I just think it's happening. I like Diggs a lot this week. Clearly, he's been good on the team. He's already pretty vocal. He's kind of had some not highlight plays, but he's getting some press coverage on the bench. Like he's involved in the team's core for being a new player, if that kind of makes sense, if you're tracking with me. His targets have been exploding quite a bit. I think he's starting to find himself in the team, and mostly it has to do with who everyone's a good matchup when it's one-on-one, and he's a one-on-one guy. He's very good at just owning routes and one-on-one, right? I think higher than 5.5 receptions with Nico out, and
Nico's going to
Dell out. Nico should be fine, but it's also like, so the 1 is also kind of not 100%. It seems like a smash.
I'm hoping they play Mechie a little bit more and get him involved in the slot. I think that would be the best play, but I think they're going to use a little more of Dalton Schultz.
At least on your first read situations, I just think there's going to be a lot of like Diggs is the guy on a lot of plays.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, either he gets the ball thrown to him or not. But 5.5 would be a decent line if Nico were playing.
Yeah.
Keep saying Nico. If Tank were playing. Sorry, not to screw you guys up. ETN higher than 50, Diggs higher than 5.5. That's where I'm going with.
I like it. So Rafi had a question for this particular game. We have Brian Thomas Jr., Deontay Johnson, or Roma Dunze. Injuries are killing him across many of his teams. So for me, it's Deontay Johnson, and I don't even have to think twice about that.
Yep,
one.
That's easy. That's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, we're going to go Deontay Johnson there for you, Rafi. So let's move on to our Steelers versus Colts. They're going to be going to Indianapolis to go face them. Pittsburgh is favored by 2 in this particular matchup. The over-under is only 40. So in this particular case, it's a very low over-under. So this is this is an interesting one for me, to be honest. We have JT and Najee Harris. You're smashing them. I think that both guys are going to be playable this week. Jaylen Warren is going to be out for this one. So, Najee gets a good, he's going to have a good hold of the particular offensive snaps, and maybe Cordero Patterson, which I think is ridiculous. But Najee is going to be heavily involved. So is JT. Jonathan Taylor will be very much involved. My biggest questions for this particular team, for both teams, to be honest, is the wide receiver core. Both quarterbacks have been mediocre passing the ball. They really have. And I know you're the big, I know you're the Anthony Richardson guy. I know it.
Dynasty.
I know you love him in Dynasty, but I know we're talking about redraft right now. We're talking about redraft. At this point, is guys like Michael Pittman and George Pickens even startable in the next few weeks? I mean, right now, Pickens is wide receiver 50 on the year. Pittman is even lower at 68.
That's so brutal.
You got to be thinking to yourself, is Michael Pittman worth starting? Is George Pickens worth starting with these two quarterbacks, with Anthony Richardson and Justin Fields throwing them the ball at this case? But yet, for the Colts, they have Alec Pierce, who is currently wide receiver 14 on the year. So who are you going with in this matchup that for these wide receiver groups? Like, who are you aiming for?
Look, I think it's a question that has to be brought up.
It is.
They're outside the wide receiver 50s. We're a couple. I mean, we're not super into the season, but
we're almost at 4 weeks, and once we hit 4 weeks, we always have data, and we're already at 3. So
look, it's a real question at this point. It is. By this time, we should be starting to figure out if you're hitting the waiver wire aggressively like you should, and you're really planning several weeks in advance on overall roster construction. You should be starting to like a couple of your flexes, or you're in my whole team's injured and you're still in like that mode of I still have to build the team a little bit, which is a bad spot to be in. If you're in the I'm still flushing out my best bench option sort of situation, I'm hitting the waiver hard to make it happen, you're starting them because your team's not there yet and you're just not in a place to do it. If you're in a spot where you hit the waiver wire and it's working out pretty good, or you drafted pretty deep and things are hitting and you're the one guy that's not getting hit by the 20 million injury bugs, right? If you're the one guy that has some depth, I'm seriously considering some players over him. Now, like, I'm not playing Shaheed over either of them. These boom bust guys, we're sure they could kill it. I'm not willing to do a Mooney. I'm not willing to do a Shaheed yet. I'm just not there on the low floor guys, because these guys are still averaging 6+ targets. I think I did the math on both of these. It's like six and a half. But
I was just going to tell you. So for the first 3 weeks, Michael Pittman, 20 targets.
Yeah. So about 7.
For George Pickens, 18. So right now they are just below. Well, they're just above. Pittman's just above numbers like Drake London, Jamar Chase, who is technically lower, but he had the big touchdowns and stuff, so his numbers are a little off. But guys like Terry McLaurin, he's above. Christian Kirk, Ladd McConkey, Calvin Ridley. So he's kind of at the top of the bottom of the barrel, if that makes sense.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I look at Pittman that way.
Yeah,
just not Pickens. Pickens I can forgive because he is a good deep ball. He doesn't need all the targets. That team just doesn't have any other weapons to go to. He is like the guy.
Yeah.
The quarterback. I mean, I feel more confident in Rich rushing in touchdowns than Fields at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm more confident in rolling out Pickens at this point. I would be okay. I still think Pickens is a flex. I mean, your team's got to be pretty strong he's out of your wide receiver slot. He's into a flex. But here's the one for me that I think is worth mentioning. It's at running back. I think wide receiver to wide receiver, it's easier to just say, look, this guy clearly is in a separate tier. He's just playing. Things are weird, right? Mm-hmm. You'll know when the flip is maybe worth it. But when you flip over to running back, I think I would probably play Chuba over Pittman. That range for me of no, this guy's had a little bit of a bad run, but things are picking up. I like Chuba over him. Some people are like, they only start Najee if they have to. I like Najee in this spot with Warren out. I like him a little bit more. In general, though, if it's close, I'm still sticking with, I think the passing offense for the Colts has been worse than it's going to be the rest of the year.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be a lot better, but it's going to be better. And I don't think that every target has to go a 60-yard bomb to Pierce. There's going to be a 60-yard bomb to Pittman at some point.
Yeah.
So I just
Hopefully.
think, yeah, right. That's the scary thing is hopefully. I think it's a little too early to just be flat out benching him, but we'll put it this way. In a week or two when we're doing this again, I'm already not afraid to do it if I have to.
Yeah.
We're not in no one's like mathematically eliminated for the playoffs or anything, so we're not getting too silly. Give me a week or maybe not even a week or two. Give me a week.
Give him this
week.
week. Yeah. So we got this guy 12 going. Fields and Pickens breakout game. Do you think that this is an opportunity for them to do well and have a breakout game?
Too low of an over-under, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Not enough plays for either to be considered a breakout. I think both teams want to run the ball, and so the amount of total plays is going to be really low. I think this is going to be a very, very boring game, except for the plays that aren't boring.
Yeah. Colts are number 11 against the wide receiver this season. So I agree. I mean, they're utilizing a guy that is averaging 4 targets a game as wide receiver 14, and that's Alec Pierce. So even a guy like, Pittman, who's averaging 7.5, he's still not even getting, close to what he should. So hopefully we can see a, big change, moving forward. But for me, for the Steelers side, no, I'm just sticking with Harris and rolling with that. I don't see this as, I've never really been a big, Justin Fields fan in general. Kendall knows I'm not a huge fan of AR, as well either. I just don't think their passing floor can help. I know that they have a good rushing floor, but their passing floor can't help. And that's the problem. So they only rely on their rushing yards. And as much as we know that rushing yards are king for, these quarterbacks, it's just, he can't sustain it with his passing. So neither one can. And they both have teams with mediocre wide receivers at best. So I'm very off, I'm off on those. Freiermuth, maybe. Yeah. There's no
Freiermuth for me is I was drafting Freiermuth because of Russ.
Yeah.
He likes his tight ends, and I thought he'd be involved. As soon as Fields became the guy, it doesn't matter who's at tight end. I'm out.
Yeah, Colts, there's no one to really focus on because they don't really use the tight end in that, capacity, and it's always someone different. So we're not going to go down that road anyway. Beyond of all I have currently said about George Pickens in this particular matchup, I do think he's involved. So for my particular prop for this, I'm going to go with the more than 4 receptions for George Pickens. Now, I'm going to go with that just because in this particular case, I do think, as Kendall said, it's going to be kind of a slow playing game. I think that they're going to still have to pass the ball, and they're going to still give it to the one guy that can catch it. He's the number 1 option on their team. 4 receptions is a low number for a guy like that. I'm smashing that number and grabbing that and running to the bank. What about you there, Kendall?
For props, by the way, like it. This one's obviously it's tough on a low over under, but I think it's one of those. I don't think many people are going to be on it, but I think it's a good one. I think 4 is the exact number. I think he catches 4 or 5 balls. I am going to. That's one I actually almost started writing it in, and like, oh shoot, he has that. I would combine that or do them separately, however you want to. But I like Pickens in general. I just think the number is a little bit low. The number I like better is the receiving yards because I think he's a guy that he only needs 3 balls to get here. It's 52.5 receiving yards. So if you're going to go one, you might as well go both. You don't have to for sure, but I like the Pickens bets in general. I'm going on the yardage side. Mike's going with the reception side. I also I'm throwing in. I think A-Rich, interesting number. A-Rich his higher or lower is 180.5 in passing yards.
Yeah,
and I mean I know he has not been an elite passer. I never thought he was, but 180 just feels really, really, really low.
Okay.
I mean, I know he's gonna probably be a historically low passing yards guy, but I still think 180 just feels low because half his passes are 60-yard touchdowns. And if one of them happens that way, the rest of it's kind of cake. Okay. So I'm willing to be wrong on this one. This was one where I have to pick a bet. I'm going to go with the guy that I think everyone is underrating in a particular way. I'm gonna put a few dollars behind my guy and say I'm ready to be wrong.
You're going to have to.
If you're not going to take my advice on any bets, Don't do the A-Rich bet. Let me
there you
die
go.
on that hill. Take all my other bets, and you're printing money so far. But that's all. I have to do it on this game.
My biggest thing is the Steelers' front seven is very good. Their defensive front is very good. I think that they're going to give A-Rich a little bit of trouble. I think if anything, the rushing rushing yards total should be higher, or I would be hitting the over on that. But I'm not taking the passing in any shape, way, or form.
It
I'm
feels
avoiding
scary,
that.
man. It feels
I'm not
scary.
taking it.
This feels more like I am not giving people advice on that pick. Let me be clear.
No.
This is I'm feeling a little crazy, but
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna have fun with it.
guys, I've got like a bone feeling that the worst front seven versus the best front seven just isn't going to change the game script for A-Rich.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, is he dialed in on the deep ball or not? Because half the time I'm like, wait, we might look at back and say a good front seven means he has to chuck it more often in a panicked fashion, and somehow that flick of the wrist leads to a touchdown. Where if he has all the time in the world, that might be horrible. That gives him so much more time to make a bad decision.
Yeah, well, they have a good back end too, so that's why I'm staying away from his passing yards in one way or another. With Malika Fitzpatrick in the back and Joey Porter on the corner. So, I'm staying away from that. So let's move along to
deleting this one. I'm not even like putting this one in the line. I can't even take it out.
So let's move on to the last game of the night. So make sure you guys throw your questions in the chat. We will be getting to them right after we go through this particular game. If you guys want your question answered beforehand, please make sure you guys use the super chats and we will answer right then and there. Broncos are going to be coming out east to the Meadowlands to go visit the Jets. Jets are favored by 7 in this game. The biggest matchup in this, or the biggest, line for this game is 7. I haven't seen one that's higher so far.
It's the biggest line on the entire slate. Yeah, it's crazy.
So. 39. Yeah, that's the highest. 39 and a half over under. So in my opinion, that means that most of the points are going towards the Jets. In this case, you're definitely starting guys like Hill and Wilson they're no-brainers. Rodgers, more of a QB2, in my opinion. I don't think he is QB1 ready yet. I don't think he's, QB12 in any way, shape, or form. Right now, I don't know if I can start any of the Bronco options in this matchup. And that is tough for me to say. I do like a lot of these guys. I love Bo Nix. I like Curtis Samuel. And I'm a big fan of Javonte Williams. But unfortunately, I don't see them having good games in this one. What about you? I mean, how do you feel about their current running back situation? Is it worth investing in? Are you willing to start any of these guys, or are they just stay away?
My initial inclination is I'm just staying away. It has less to do with the running backs themselves, more like the overall ecosystem. I don't see a major they're going to get over this hill this season. I think it's more of a long term. Somebody will emerge at some point in time, but I don't think it's this year. I think this year it's going to be massively running back by committee. I had the Broncos pegged as probably going to have 3 running backs in there. I liked Javonte just because it felt like he was really cheap. And it was between like Javonte or Singletary. Well,
he's young. He's 24.
Yeah, I still think he looks okay. I don't think he's been playing particularly bad. I like the involvement in the passing game. That's been at least encouraging. So he's more startable in PPR. But I'm with you. It's not hard for me. If I have almost any option, I'm going to go with the almost any other option. You don't even really need to name names. Maybe some people in chat will give us some questions later or start sits. We can kind of go over those. But if I'm finding anything at flex, I'm going with a wide receiver. I like a million of them over them. If running back, I'm just toast. It's only if I have to. I'm not kidding. I would say Braylon Allen at this point is like a coin toss with Javonte. It's just that close.
Okay. And that's fair. Yeah. I like it. I mean, I feel the same way. I've been very high on him, but unfortunately that line is tough. I mean, most Sean Payton offenses, you pretty much, running backs are almost a smash. I always think that they are, they always utilize the running back in one way or another. And they also feature the X receiver, which is, in this case, is it Cortland Sutton? Because at this point, he might lead them in receptions, but Josh Reynolds leads them in total yardage. Mm-hmm. It's getting kind of crazy out there. But Bo Nix, I think if you invested him in Dynasty, I think you're going to be very happy down the road. I do think that Bo Nix just needs another, I think he needs this year to kind of get him, get his feet underneath him. I think he can be a really good quarterback moving forward. I honestly do. I think he has the ability to get the ball out, and, he has the ability to kind of see, oh, crap, I got to get out of here. And then he has the legs to kind of pick it up too. So I like Bo Nix in the future. I don't see him as a redraft option this year. So for me, I'm pretty much out on the Broncos offense as a whole, unfortunately. So I think guys like Javonte Williams, you can probably drop. I'm still probably keeping guys like Sutton and Reynolds on my bench, but it's really more just in case. And we see all the injuries every week. It just happens. Like I need to have a little bit more on that. So I think that's all I really can talk about this game, to be quite honest. I mean, this game is pretty self-explanatory, to say the least. So for me, I think I'm going to move right along to our props. And for me, my biggest prop is Mike Williams more than 2.5 receptions. I saw that and freaking smashed the button as hard as I could. They are involving Mike Williams, and they're getting him a lot more involved as of late. I mean, his particular numbers for this year, he's been just eased in last week against the Patriots. And he is going, where are they? He was in for 45% of the snaps, which is huge. That's a huge jump up. Now, Allen Lazard is overtaking him, but they are involving him when needed. I do think that this is one of those scenarios where they can involve him. 2.5 is a very easy number for him. So I think that got to go with Mike Williams here.
I like it. It's a low number. It's one of those numbers where Rodgers is good enough to move the ball around. Feels like 4 different receivers could get 3. Like the number 3 would be brutal for me. I don't think I can get to 3, but 2.5, giving 3 is a win. I like that. I like that quite a bit. Yeah. And it just feels like it's, if he ups his snap count to where we think it could be and has that natural next game progression, he'll be there the rest of the season. So I like it from if I'm breaking down your bet, it's like the mindset philosophy is there. It's like this, it's one of those, this might be the cheapest he ever is because he was always going to be on the field more. Everything leading up to this has been expectedly weak, but the number hasn't changed fast enough because the betting market hasn't caught on to it as quickly. So good bet. I like your bet better than at least one of mine at this point. I can't quit Garrett Wilson though. 54.5 just seems stupid for a guy with his talent.
Yeah.
He's when the Jets defense, they've got great defenders. They're known for, guys like Sauce. When he's cutting up Sauce in practice, he practiced against Sauce Gardner and he still wins from all the reports. So now the Jets they're finding ways to win games without him. But
they're going against Surtain, who is one of the better guys.
Surtain, which didn't he just become the highest paid corner, right?
Yep.
Pretty insane. So that's a problem. That being said, normally you get a guy like Pat Surtain and you go from 75 projected down to 55 projected. You don't start at 55 and then figure it out from there. So I still think it's too low of a number. I think they have to figure it out. Part of me just says I don't know, they're going to figure it out. My favorite bet though, because I'm kind of all in the Jets right now. If I were just putting one bet on this game, this is what I would hit. Braylon Allen higher than 10.5 receiving yards.
I love it.
I like this one a lot. I broke down the game scripts. I kind of looked at when he got the catches, when all this happened, and it wasn't as much pure garbage time as I think people would expect these catches to be. His snap share was decent. He's being very efficient with all the different kinds of touches, which from a coaching standpoint, it's we can run him out on any play because he can do anything pretty well. And if this game becomes a blowout because the Broncos can only kick field goals, I think we're going to see a lot of Braylon Allen.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I love Braylon Allen in this one.
Yeah, for me, this is a stock. You give me the RB2 on the most favored team on the entire slate.
He's a flex, yeah.
It's just and you're telling me, okay, I need 10 receiving yards from a good pass catcher, RB2.
Done. Smash.
You line up all the things. You're I don't need to know football very well to do the math, and it feels like Braylon Allen is a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, honestly, I love Braylon Allen as a whole. I think I said it last week, he can definitely be, usage on his own, even without, or even with Breece Hall in there. So, yeah. So those are our props for these particular games of the week. Make sure you guys stay tuned next week, and we're going to let you guys know how we did. Hopefully, we are above our 50% like we were last week. We were at 14 and 11. So really excited to see what we have next week for you guys.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to go do our live Q&A and get you guys your questions answered. So make sure you guys have those questions available, and we're going to get to it right now. We're going to start from the very top. So sorry for those that are just throwing them in there now. We'll get to you, I promise. So we're going to start with 702 B-side. What's going on, man? Hopefully you are still listening to us. You were the first question right when we started at 9:05. So he goes Godwin, Christian Kirk, and Carson Steele for Jamar Chase. I mean, yeah.
Redraft or this is redraft or Dynasty?
I'm assuming
it
it's
has
redraft.
to be redraft. Yeah.
I'm
Redraft.
hitting the accept button before he takes it back.
You're taking the Chase side?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm assuming at this point you want to load up on wide receiver.
In the
I'm
playoffs,
Godwin's low.
Steele's not on your team in the playoffs. Kirk isn't going to be on any league-winning teams. No. I doubt. You're actively
Godwin's the only one.
It's
basically Godwin and garbage for Chase.
I mean, the scary part is like Godwin might straight up be
100%
a better wide receiver option than Chase this year. Look, my honest take is I would look for better because I think with Godwin's production, I don't really want to trade Godwin. I don't want to sell high on Godwin. Let me be clear. I think Godwin's going to have that role in a pass-heavy offense where the running game, I mean, the backup might get some more work, but like it's a passing touchdown-heavy team and a passing-heavy team. I kind of want to keep Godwin, but that's to say I love Chase. I absolutely love Chase, and you might not be able to get a cheaper version of Chase at the production that you're going to get from Chase. It's a league-winning play. I like it most because Kirk and Steele feel free, and you're just like flipping Godwin for Chase somehow. So like stylistically, if Chase finishes as a top 3 wide receiver, and he probably should, you should do this deal. Yeah,
go for it. Then we got Joe Ortiz. Need a QB or need a tight end this week. I'm assuming with Evan Ingram and Trey McBride out. He goes this week for waivers. He goes Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki, or Tyler Conklin. Ooh. Now I like 2 of these guys a lot. I like Conklin and Gesicki. I think I'm going to lean Gesicki here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that. I don't think the passing volume needs to be there for the Jets since they're so overwhelmingly favored. I like Gesicki here.
Yeah, and he said I forgot about Taysom Hill too, so maybe he's another option. I don't hate him for this particular matchup either. He does pretty well against the Falcons in the past. So for me, I'm pretty good with Hill too. So Hill or Gesicki, I'm on board with.
I'm Gesicki over him at this point. If Olave and Kamara were like randomly out, though,
if one of the 2 are out, which I am assuming that Olave is, I'm loading up Taysom Hill without a problem.
Yeah, I would want for me the more interesting one is like if Kamara went
out. Understood.
Like, holy Hill at this point. But Kamara's only banged up. He's going to play.
No, he'll be playing.
I like Gesicki a little more.
Joe also says Najee, Monty, Carson Steele, J.K. Dobbins, or Mixon if he plays. Remember, he is questionable, and we will have to see. He's saying start 2. Now, I think we both agree Najee is a start this week for this particular grouping. I also think Monty is another good start for this one as well, even though it's a tougher matchup. Steele and Dobbins don't move the needle for me. I kind of like Mixon if he plays, but he would be limited. So I think I'm going to go with Monty and Najee.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
I'm a little nervous about Monty, though, just because of the injury to Frank Ragnow. He tore his pec, and I don't think he plays. So for me, I'm a little nervous about that one, but I'm still on board with it because the line will still be fine without him.
Monty's locked in for me. It's between Najee and Dobbins. Mixon is you just don't have to take the risk.
I'm nervous because I don't think Justin Herbert plays. So if Justin Herbert doesn't play, I can't do it.
My tiebreaker is Dobbins has too many things that can go wrong.
Oh, 100%.
Where Najee things are already going right.
Yeah.
It's not Yeah, I'm just trying to stick to the process. Monty locked in. Najee, without Warren, I think Najee might be able to catch 4 or 5 balls. So if it's
I think
PPR
so,
league too, I think Najee has such a safe floor.
Yeah, I think they're going to involve Calvin Austin though too.
Don't hate your team. Your team seems legit. That's great running back room. Hope the wide receivers match it a little bit, but nice.
So Perry Williams goes, traded Hill, Pittman for Justin Jefferson and Brian Robinson. Needed running back depth and tired of Hill. I don't hate that trade.
I love that trade.
Yeah, I think you did pretty well at the end of the day with that particular trade. So Camden Christensen, what's going on, man? Glad to have you on the show. Hopefully those that are new to the show, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the show if you haven't already. Would you trade Shakir for Najee or Ford? My quick answer is no. And especially if this is full PPR.
My quick answer is definitely not Ford. My snap answer was not even close to Ford. I have to think about Najee a little bit, though.
Yeah.
PPR, half PPR, that's going to matter here a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that. So for me, I think it's just for, I'm going to go with full PPR. So
if you're looking at this deal, though, you're probably needing a running back. You're looking, who is my sell high wide receiver? Who can I go buy affordably?
It would be Najee, though.
Look, if I need a running back because I might be forced to start Tyler Algier off the waiver wires because that's legitimately my RB2 at this point.
Yeah.
That could cost you a week.
Yeah.
Where like Shakir, you're going to have a better replacement for at that particular point. If you need running back, I do like doing it for Najee.
Yeah.
Just because I like it. It's the safe play of, I think, running backs. There's a lot of positions that are gross this year, but if your injury setup, it's weird. I would do the trade for Najee just to secure running back. You're not going to find a cheaper one in Najee this time of year with the fields. The whole offense is looking kind of bad. The vibes are kind of bad. People aren't aggressively like charging more for Najee because he's the guy with Warren out. I think you can get a pretty low price on Najee for his production, I think is my thought there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
That being said, we both like Shakir better. Like legitimately, we're both like Shakir's the better player. He's going to score more points, but running back sucks. You got to do it.
All right. So we're going to have to run through these a little bit faster. We got Tyler Owens. He goes, got offered JSN and Ken Walker for AJ Brown and Mostert. My roster is Lamar, Debo, Pickens, Lockett, JT, Chuba, Ferguson, Wandell, Mooney, Braylon Allen, and Ty Chandler. Thoughts? So I don't like taking two guys from the same team, especially at two different positions, especially one that is hurt currently and is going through the process. I understand AJ Brown is also in that process, and he is questionable for this week as well. Mostert is still very questionable moving into the Monday night game. In this case, your particular lineup isn't horrible. You have Debo out, which I understand is why you're probably looking to have a little bit more security. But this, I don't know if I would do that.
I mean, Mostert's is RB1 right now.
Yeah, I know.
Chuba's is RB2.
No, JT is.
Oh, I forgot about JT. JT.
So I mean,
that fixes things.
You're kind of Chuba is your running back 3. Braylon is maybe your running back 3 in this case.
So playoff push, Mostert's pretty dead for me.
Yeah,
Chuba will be dead at some point when you hit playoff run. Braylon is basically my running back 2 in this lineup. Week 1 of the playoffs.
I think I'm holding with my lineup. I think I'm just holding with what I got. I don't need JSN or Walker at this point. I'm happy.
How do you feel about your running backs going into the playoffs, though? Do you think you can win with your current running backs, knowing that Chuba's going to get worse?
I think I can make a better trade in a few weeks when they're all healthy, and I can get rid of AJ for a better price.
So you're just saying you don't love the deal enough that you'd look elsewhere.
No, Ken Walker is not worth AJ Brown in any shape, way, or form. So for me, it's not even worth.
Be careful of buying the dip on an injured player too, because you never know if they're never going to. His backup's not terrible.
You're trading 2 injured or 3 injured players in all of this, and hoping JSN is the guy that undoes things. But you have Lockett on there as well. No, I'm not combining. I'm not going to be the Seahawks. You
don't have enough upside here, honestly.
No, there's not
JSN,
enough.
Walker, and Lockett can't all hit, so you're lowering your ceiling. Yeah. I want to find a way because I like Walker.
I would find a different team though. I would go to a completely different person and try to offer something. If you're trying to get rid of AJ Brown and Mostert. Go somewhere else and don't try to get two guys on the same team. It's not worth it.
I mean, JSN's a good buy low. I like the idea for Ken Walker. Yeah, I'd look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hit us up again if this is just the only thing you have on the table, but I think you can do better.
Yeah, definitely can do better. World of Guz, what's going on, man? He goes, start one. Ayuk, Jacobs, or Monty. Now, I need a little bit more clarification here. If it's half PPR, I'd be smashing on Monty just because I like the matchup a little better. If it was full PPR, I'm probably going to lean Ayuk here. So those are the two that I'm going to give you. I think Jacobs is kind of the odd man out in this scenario. So yeah, I would definitely go that particular route.
Agreed.
George Play goes, someone offered me CMC and Olave for Mason and JSN. Thoughts? My starting running backs are Barkley and Gibbs.
What's your record right now?
Yeah, I mean,
can you get to the playoffs for free? Because if so, I'm like
I'm not. I would rather just keep who I got, to be honest.
Only because I think like Olave versus JSN come week 14, I think is like not close. I think Olave figures it out.
I get why they're doing it, and it makes sense in the long term. CMC, I don't think plays. Honestly, I don't think CMC plays this year. Or that's my hot take. I honestly don't think he plays. I think he's going to be another 4 weeks, if not longer. I think it's going to get to that 5 week mark. They're going to be like, nope.
I don't expect him back legitimately until
I don't see him back until
12 maybe.
Yeah, that's my earliest.
I'll say opinion. I'm giving my advice on this thinking he's out until then though. But like George, you got to ask yourself, are you getting to the playoffs without basically everyone on your pretend CMC doesn't play until week 1 of the playoffs?
Yeah,
are you for sure? Are you risking your playoff run to get there? This is one of those trades where you could actually get yourself locked out of the playoffs before CMC even becomes relevant, which is if you ever play any poker, for you poker nuts out there, I'm wearing the WSOP hat. It's it's just a nightmare when it comes to expected value.
Yeah,
you're making a mistake you don't need to do. So I think that's where Mike is going with this, is you don't need to do it.
No,
it's not a smash. There's some smashes where you're like, look, I get it. It's crazy. The reward's too much there. You're not getting enough of a reward here to take it on though.
And Mason can get you through with at flex. You have JSN that can be good depth on wide receiver. You're fine for now. Don't try to do too much. We got Matt Friend. What's going on, Matt? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Like I said, for new people, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing as well. We're also going to be moving back to back with our next show at part 2. So don't worry. Once we're done, it's going to transfer you guys right over to their show. So we're going to try to get it done as soon as possible. Matt goes, he's 1-2. It's a 10-team league, full PPR and redraft. Okay, cool. So he's saying start your boy A-Rich, Geno, or Sam Darnold. That's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. I mean, I have currently Anthony Richardson at 12, Darnold at 13, and Geno at 17. I'd probably lean a little bit more. The fantasy analyst in me tells me that I should be telling you Anthony Richardson. I would probably prefer Sam Darnold just because I like Sam Darnold a little bit better as a quarterback overall. So for me, I'm going to lean Darnold. I don't like it, but I rather have Darnold. I feel a lot safer with him. What about you? I know you're going to say A-Rich.
Nope.
Oh, who are you going to say?
I can't do it, man.
Darnold. Can't do it. Darnold. Got it. So
again,
Perry,
week 1, I dropped Goff and Stafford in 4 leagues for a combination of Baker and Darnold.
Yep.
And it's QB5 on the week. I mean, on the season right now. Darnold's freaking real, dude. You know me. I'm the A-Rich truther.
Oh,
this is redraft.
That's why it's hard for me to hear that. I thought you were going to go A-Rich. Yep.
My redraft brain has to work differently than my dynasty brain.
100%.
And you gotta maintain some hardcore discipline in redraft. The slate's cleared every year. You can't rely on last year. It's a whole new game. It's a whole new group of players. On our side of the thing, like the meta game changes. With that discipline in mind, No, I'm going Darnold. I'm not going to lose an extra week or two and miss the playoffs because I didn't take the chalky 20-point a game guy who's just slaying it with the wide receiver 1 in the NFL for me right now. Getting Addison back. No. Give me it's going to sound suicidal, but no, man, give me
Darnold.
I just said Darnold over A-Rich. Like,
yeah,
I don't deserve the A-Rich jersey I have.
we need to clip this right here. So
this is not going to be a good short later on.
Perry Williams, he goes, guy is really desperate. Would you trade Brian Robinson and Brock Bowers for CMC? The answer for me is no. I am not looking to get CMC in any shape, way, or form. I'm staying away.
Yeah, I'm not looking to get him either.
No.
It's a good thing to know. Like, as soon as from when rankings change to the real season, like everything throws out the window. One, Bowers he's my dynasty tight end 1 straight up right now, and I think he's my tight end 3 in redraft. No, Bowers is nuts at a position that you're getting a real edge, and you might like anything with CMC. I don't like it.
100%. So in this same league, Matt goes redraft. He goes, should I start Laporta Friday or commit Keenan or commit? And then he goes, Keenan Allen was full practice on Friday, but if he doesn't play, I was considering starting commit. Thoughts? So for me personally, I'm starting Laporta regardless. I know he's been playing like crap. He's coming off injury. If I get the opportunity to play Laporta, I'm playing Laporta. You drafted him for that reason. Kmet, I don't see him getting 11 targets every game. I think that was just a spike game for him. It doesn't mean that it can continue. I'm going to lean Laporta.
My answer that currently is I got to read more news articles. There's no way I could give you a good answer now because I need to know. I need to look into the injury just a little bit more.
For who, Laporta?
Yeah, for Laporta.
No, Laporta's fine. Lower.
From what I'm seeing,
lower ankle. He went back into the game. He played a couple. He aggravated it. He practiced full on Thursday, on Friday, which is technically Thursday because he plays on Monday night. So for me, he's a good to go. I'm not worried about Laporta. I was scared. I picked up guys. Yeah, I picked up guys just in case. I had Noah Fant on my bench for a lot of teams. I had who else? Chig, Okonkwo. Like I had a lot of guys that I was, throwing into my lineup just in case because it was scary. He's good, and especially since he's a Monday night game. So I understand that. But
honestly, you forget last week with Kmet. Look, Laporta has definitely had like an unlucky streak when you look at how the touchdowns have come. We drafted a lot of Goff because the matchups were good because he plays indoors. The passing touchdown volume should go up compared to the rushing volume. Right now, they've been starting out run heavy, which they'd like to, but it's worked out okay. But even the passing game specifically, I think people are like, oh, he's just not in the passing game. Like I say, last year, there was a lot of broken plays and stuff like that too. He just got open a lot in the 10 touchdowns. Certainly didn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
He's had plenty of schemed up looks in the red zone. They wanted to give him a touchdown in the red zone. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Fingertips didn't happen. It wasn't the greatest throw. They're going to get him involved, but I think if you want like the metric I'm looking for is the red zone opportunities, in my opinion, how I project them week to week for Laporta is just significantly higher than Kmet, having to compete with all the options on that team, plus the lack of red zone looks in its entirety. If you just say how many red zone trips Detroit's going to have compared to Chicago, that in and of itself already should make you lean the Detroit tight end regardless of who he is, just based on like they're going to see the red zone.
It's a better
4 times more than Chicago, right? So by that metric, and he's a better player, you start stacking them up, and I think it should bring you back down to like, wait, this is just a little bit of an overreaction. It's a good thought, but I don't think it's a play I would make.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing it. So BKB goes wide receiver 2, Pickens or Olave. Unfortunately, it's got to be Pickens. I don't trust Olave coming off the injury on Friday.
Olave's confirmed out, I think. I read in chat. Someone
said that, but I have not seen confirmed out. It's still questionable.
Are we at the point with chat? Can we trust them? Chat, if we ask you to go look something up.
It's nothing personal, but I follow a very big, I follow a lot of good sources, and I make sure, I follow Nick Underhill, who is the.
Oh, Nick's great.
Oh, who clicked that? That was not me. Someone clicked that. Oh, of course. We have Rasta in the chat, and he's in the wrong room. Get out of here, Rasta. Anyway, So
Nick Underhill.
Yeah, follow Nick Underhill. He's your best.
For those that
option.
don't know, who is he, by the way? Because this is some good advice from like the channel, from people who obsess over this. Like you guys,
Nick Underhill is the best. He is the beat writer for the Saints. Follow him if you're looking for anything Saints related. Honestly, he is the guy. So I haven't heard anything from him saying that he's out, but it is strongly suggested that he probably won't play. So I'm not going to say he's out until he is out. And I'm going to go with Pickens regardless.
Yeah, and you win some money. We're throwing a couple coins on Pickens anyway, so there you go.
Yeah, for sure. TJ Flip, what's going on, brother? Oh, my God. What are you doing here?
Hey, look who it is, the fearless
What's up,
leader.
Guys? How's it going?
I have 3 minutes, and I got like 100 questions. Get the hell out of here.
I'm just hanging out. Go ahead.
All right. So we got a 10-man
It's just me
PPR.
tonight on my show,
okay,
so I'm crashing
fine.
your guys' show.
All right.
Dude,
We'll try not to keep you too long. So we got.
How's my sound?
You're a little low, but you're okay. You sound like you're far away.
How about that?
Chat, you want to help? You want to help Rasta sound check, guys?
It's my new
Give
mic.
him like a 1 through 10.
Oh yeah, no, got to go closer, brother.
It's my new mic. All right,
Gotta go
I can
closer.
go volume up too. See, I don't have anyone to
change your gain up a little bit.
All right. How about
Yes,
now?
I know nothing
too
about
loud?
sound
Better?
quality. This is really interesting.
Wait,
All
try
right.
it again.
Testing.
Yeah,
I'm
you
testing
sound
the
much
mobile
better,
live
but I would
stream.
definitely bring it up to you a little bit if you can.
All right.
Well,
I'm
I
working
mean,
that
you
out.
pretty much you used to sit like this to the mic, so I think
That's what I mean. So I don't want to be
so
too
much
loud.
better. No,
Yeah?
you were fine the
All
way you. Yeah, you're better right there.
Good investment. Good investment.
Always a
Rasta
good
and
investment.
Classic will take questions on audio setups as well
there
if
you
you're
go.
looking to get into the game.
Yeah, I can definitely
For
help you
sure.
there. So TJ Flip in the house going 10-man PPR, full PPR, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. Someone wants to trade me Bijan and DJ Moore for CeeDee Lamb and Higgins. Current team is Kyler, Gibbs, Najee, CeeDee, Olave, McBride, Deontay, Higgins, Cup, Hopkins, Braylon, and Bucky. Ay.
I know what I'm doing.
What are you doing? Go for it.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm pulling the trigger. I'm doing a buy low on Bijan and DJ Moore at the same time play, and I get to live the rest of 2024 without having Higgins on one extra lineup, which is I'll probably live 3 years longer if I do that. Minimum. My insurance company should be subsidizing that trade.
All right.
For
What
sure.
about you, Rasta?
Oh, I was just hanging out, but it's a no for me. I'm keeping
I thought-
Bijan.
Okay. fair
No,
enough.
so it'd be a yes for you. Bijan they're getting Bijan.
Oh,
They're getting Bijan.
Oh, yeah. So I want the Bijan side. That's what you said, right?
Yeah. I want
Yeah.
the
Bijan.
Bijan. I think Bijan's a 16 point a game, gonna go up to like 20, 22 point a game. All right.
All
We're
right.
gonna get up there.
All right. I
And
have
DJ
no
Moore.
opinion
DJ Moore's
here.
insane, by the way. This DJ Moore disrespect in this trade is unbelievable, by the way.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
That's the part
DJ
where
Moore's
I
a-
almost disagree, because I feel like obviously we were drafting CD ahead of Bijan, and I still think we were drafting Higgins even a little bit ahead of Bijan, DJ Moore, unless they were on basically the same tier, if you will.
Yeah, they're on the same
So it's
tier.
a little bit of a loss, but I like the positional upgrade on the with the running back. So that's what still kind of tilts it in that Bijan favor for me. But I would personally like a better wide receiver if you're giving up CD than DJ Moore. But I'm still a DJ Moore fan. It'll come together.
He had 10 targets last week, 8 catches.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Can't
We've
go
seen him do it with Justin Fields.
CD
so he can do
didn't
it with
catch
Jalen.
2 back-to-back 50-yard touchdowns. CD would be looking at a little bit differently. I'm just throwing it out there. CD, you're great at football, but 2 long touchdowns are the only reason you are not making panic lists, and you know it. All right.
For sure.
Ifs
So
and
we
buts,
got-
my friend. Ifs and buts.
Hey, I'm just saying.
So we got Matt Friend here. He goes 10-team PPR redraft. Lamb is my wide receiver 1. If AJ Brown plays and is wide receiver 2, who should I flex? Ayuk or London? I'm flexing Ayuk.
Ayuk or London? What's the matchup with Ayuk
Ayuk
this week?
against the Patriots.
Ayuk against the Patriots. Ooh. Ooh.
London against the Saints. I'm going with Ayuk with the better matchup.
I'm gonna go London.
Okay. Ross,
Only
do you have an
'cause
opinion?
I'm just angry at Ayuk right now.
No opinion. Got it. So let's move on to Joe.
Issues here, guys.
It's
just hanging out.
okay.
You
I'll
guys
say
answer the
if
questions.
Kittle's out, I would go Ayuk.
Kittle's not out. Kittle is full, and he will be playing.
Yeah, I think I'm actually starting Kittle this week too. I don't know. Something has.
I have
think
to start Kittle.
I just traded for Kittle, and I like him a lot. It was awesome. I traded Isaiah Likely for Kittle.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Feeling pretty good. This one's close. Honestly, you flip a coin if you really want to. For me, these are like. There's no way these guys
right
aren't
next to each other.
within. I think they're within 2 spots. How I'd have them ranked, and I do agree with you. Ayuk, I think, has the slightly better matchup on paper.
I have Ayuk at 12, London at 16, so I'm going Ayuk.
I was looking at London for like the ceiling play, but there's I don't know. It's a coin flip for me.
For sure. Joe Ortiz goes start 3. DJ Moore, Xavier Worthy, JMO, or Diggs. Pick 3.
I think 2 are easy, at least for me.
Yeah, for me, the 3 is DJ Moore, JMO, and Diggs.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't trust Xavier Worthy yet. So that's what I'm leaning with. We got Rafi in the house going full PPR. Drop Romeo Dobbs for Trey Turner or Naylor. I got Smith, AJ Brown, and Cup out. Oh, wonderful for you. Trey Turner isn't horrible.
Isn't it Trey Tucker?
No,
he's
Trey
talking
Turner.
about the Raiders. Is he talking about the
Raiders wide receiver?
I thought it was Tucker for some reason. I don't know.
No, it's Turner. He's right.
Anyway. I'll stay on it. Go ahead.
I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, I would go for Turner over Naylor, just because of the pecking order. Addison's gonna play. So for me, I'm probably good with Turner if you're gonna have to do it.
I think I'm keeping Dobbs. I'm not starting either
Turner
or Dobbs. So I'm looking at who's the better handcuff. And for me, if Christian Watson, who wasn't he injury prone? Wasn't he like made of glass, about a month ago?
Oh, yeah.
If Christian Watson all of a sudden had more issues, or Reed, who was already questionable and has a player type they tend to get banged up a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dobbs has a better like handcuff value if it were to an injury. Trey Turner, I think, has more standalone value for sure, and obviously is getting the snaps because Devontae is out. But if I'm looking for a long-term play, I think Turner hits the waiver wire in 2 more weeks for me for whoever the new hotness is, where Dobbs has the better chance at being like if Christian Kirk's permanently out, I mean, I guess they pop Wicks in, but I like Dobbs a little more.
Yeah, agreed.
According to Sleeper, it is Trey Tucker. Just so you guys know.
Okay.
If you're talking about the Raiders receiver, if that's who we're talking
about.
I didn't even read that. It's definitely Trey Tucker. I own him.
Yeah, then it's Trey Tucker.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
I thought it was.
I think it was just an autocorrect,
Yeah,
like,
it might have been an autocorrect.
Yeah, like classic. Like third string offensive lineman. Like,
yeah.
Well,
I've seen Tucker too.
I've been learning a lot from him on O&D lines, man. He is good.
Oh, yeah.
I know D lines.
IDP, I think if you have IDP questions, Classic is your guy.
I'm the IDP guy of Get Right comparative to, and I know that Roster's in more IDP, but I am a little bit more versed in who to look for.
Oh yeah, I go to Classic for my IDP.
He goes to me, and then I go to
well,
I go to
plug. I also go to our boy Martin over at Dynasty.
I was gonna say I go to Martin all the time for that. So yeah, he's the guy for IDP for real life. So Joe Ortiz goes, would you start Schultz over Conklin and Gesicki? I am if Collins is out, but it doesn't look like he will be. So for me, I think I might lean Conklin here. No, I'm gonna go Gesicki here.
I'm Gesicki. We did a Conklin Gesicki earlier, and I think we were both on the Gesicki side initially. I mean, Schultz, I need to see another week. I just think they're not going to game plan Schultz a bunch of stuff.
No,
because they have too many weapons for too many weeks too often.
The only thing
Schultz is not a big part of their game plan in 2024, in my opinion, versus Gesicki. Their plan is, can we just make sure we've got a healthy quarterback that throws the ball 40 times a game? And I think Gesicki has more chances of getting 7 and 8 targets than Schultz does.
No problem, Matt. That's what we're here for, to help you guys with any of your questions. Make sure you guys are throwing them in the chat. We're getting to them as we speak, so don't worry. We're trying to get through these. You guys have a lot of great questions, and I want to make sure we get to all of them. Isaiah Cedello, he goes, should I start Pickens or Diggs? For me, it's Diggs.
Yep.
I don't even have to.
Not super close, to be honest. Diggs has a nice spot this week. I'm betting on him. I'm betting on his higher thans in some places. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
So the Schmitty, what's going on, man? How you doing? He goes, start 2 wide receivers. Now, this one's Juwan Jennings, JSN, Drake London, or Evans. And hey, it's hard not to say JSN for this particular pick. George Kittle coming back will take off a little bit off of him a little bit. For me, it's Evans and London without thinking twice about it. But Jennings is a very interesting pick, to say the least.
He's interesting. He's just not as interesting as London or Evans.
Oh, 100%.
For me, for sure. I like what he did, but London should be doing that every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Jennings and DFS a lot.
Oh yeah,
week.
Jennings for sure.
So I think that's the way you do that. If you want to you want peace of mind.
Oh yeah.
Go throw
hedge your bet somewhere else.
Throw a prop bet or 2 on Jennings. Just throw some money on Jennings, then start London and Evans, and you hedge your bet a little bit. And if you either win your week, lose a couple bucks, or vice versa, that's what I like to do there.
No, I like that. So Denzel Barton goes Cooper, London, Wilson, Jennings. Start 3. And do I start Zach Moss or J.K. Dobbins at the flex?
Double question.
Oof. So I liked what Cooper did last week. Not going to lie. I do like Cooper. Wilson, I'm a little bit lower on just because of his matchup versus Surtain.
Yeah, they're giving you a lot of reason to believe in him.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go London and Cooper, but then I'm going to have to play Wilson here. I mean, play your studs. I understand Jennings had a monster week, but I don't see him sustaining that over and over again. For the flex, I'm going with Zach Moss here. He has a better matchup. I think that's probably your best bet.
London and Wilson, again, like Jennings, it just doesn't seem like the better play, in my opinion. It'll work out a couple times and feel great, but out of 10, it's not going to work out, more often. 100%. I like Moss because I put some money on Moss. I think Moss is going to have his highest rushing carries total of the year. He's probably going to get
best matchup.
15, 16 carries plus matchup. He's been catching some passes. I think the floor is a little bit low for both, but I like Moss to fall into the end zone this week as well. It's just a great matchup.
Okay. So Denzel Barton also says Geno or Sam Darnold. I'm going with Sam Darnold. We had the
Sammy
same
boy
question before. I'm going with Sam Darnold.
Was Roster, were you in there when apparently there's some YouTube shorts you need to make? I'm gonna regret significantly.
We're gonna. I have the number roughly
about A-Rich. Yeah, I got you.
Don't tell A-Rich. All right, I haven't met him yet, but I would like to. And I
think it was around the 1.
Have that hanging over me.
I think it was like the 141 mark, something like that. We'll remember that. Anyway,
are we gonna timestamp all of my A-Rich slander every episode? We're gonna
start doing that now.
Oh my god.
So we have Thomas in the house. What's going on, Thomas? Great to see you. Like I said, for those that are new to the show, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the show. Thomas goes, hey guys, full PPR. Would I be crazy for considering flexing Braylon Allen over Darnell Mooney? I feel the Jets could secure the lead by the fourth quarter and run Braylon. Yes, the answer is yes. I'm okay with playing Braylon Allen over Darnell Mooney.
Thomas, you're a real one, my friend. I like you. I like you a lot already.
I don't think it's crazy. I think it's actually a smart move.
I think I'm there, to be honest. I'm straight up there. I'm really high on Braylon Allen. I already was before I saw him play a snap this season. It just it feels so good to root for the guys that you think. And my whole off season was, guys, Braylon Allen's going to see a lot of fourth quarters. And I think he's secretly pretty good at catching passes. And he's going to develop faster than anybody else in the league because he's 16 years old. I mean, it's stupid. He came into the league younger than Joe Mixon did or something along that. Just insanely young. He's 20 years old right now. He's going to get better, faster, stronger daily. I like that a lot. If that game's one side, sure, Mooney can make you feel stupid, 40-yard touchdown pass, and you're like, oh, that was fun. But if Mooney doesn't catch a touchdown, I think Braylon absolutely. I would be willing to bet some money. If unless Mooney catches a touchdown, Braylon definitely outscores him.
100%. So we got Caden in the house. What's going on, man? He goes Jerome Ford or Shaheed for my last flex spot.
Don't
this
be a
one's
coward.
A little tougher. I think I'm going Shaheed.
Don't be a coward. Do it. Go big.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think I'm going Shaheed here. Yeah. If it's full, especially if it's full PPR, I'm gonna go Shaheed.
Oh, you mean the guy who caught 5 passes week 1? That guy?
Yeah.
The guy that's on the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
You are taking a Cleveland Brown.
Vegas is giving up
another
the
NFL
third
player.
most points to the running back position, 29.1 points per game. Jerome Ford is one of my hot starts this week.
Really?
Okay.
All right. Well, Rustin, now that you're fully, I gotta let you know. I gotta jump into this because my worry is the Deonta Foreman thing scared the piss out of me. I can't unsee the disrespect and the like. What are we doing? You're so desperate to make your quarterback work that you think, hey, let's give the backup we haven't played yet like half the carries and see if that fixes things. Like for me, that was guys, was that the plan? What happened in practice? I don't understand why it happened all of a sudden.
But the thing is, it corrected itself last week because Foreman only had 2 carries for 5 yards and only played 16% of the snaps.
Correct.
So
Jerome Ford was at 79.
They realized that wasn't going to win them games.
Yeah,
and they
but
went
that was
back to
also
the
against the Giants, and they thought they were they were also in a negative game script at that point, trying to catch up.
Even more so, you want the guy that's playing in that position.
Playing the Raiders though,
and he's still going to get the rushes too.
Yeah,
Mike's
so
is fantastic. By
hey,
the way,
I don't hate
silky late night.
I don't have. Honestly, I don't hate Jerome Ford for this, but I just, I don't see it. I think it's going to be a closer game for the Saints, and they're going to have to pass a bunch.
I hope you're right. I have a lot of shares of Ford. Like he was
honestly,
he was a flag plant for me in drafts this year. In that dead zone of like you can take your favorite guy within like 2 rounds. I took a lot of Ford. Betting
I took Ford everywhere. I have Ford in a lot of spots, but my whole thing, if I'm in a situation where I am down by a lot, if I had somebody like, if I faced Neighbors yesterday or something like that, and I need an upside play,
I don't believe in any of that. Doesn't matter what day the points were scored.
Yeah, just
say that happened on Monday and they just come back and beat you at the end. Like that shouldn't affect who you're starting on Sunday. Is all I'm saying. But
fair enough.
Well, if it's big, if they started like if Cole,
I need an upside play. I need something he's a bigger boom bust play.
I think that would
Jerome Ford.
But
you know what I mean.
I got you.
To be fair, we got to start a different player than
he misses down by that me so much.
I know, man. I haven't been able to argue with you in a month, man. Like
I know, right?
That's why I had to jump on here and because this is what we used to get on. This is why our shows lasted 4 hours because like 2.5 hours of it was just us trying to change each other's mind.
Well, now in this particular case, you have another few hours on your own to kind of do that and try to talk to yourself.
For sure. And I have that game, so I'll be covering that game.
I know you
so
got that.
That's why I was on the ready with that defense.
That nice
there,
stack.
So,
I like it. So is this a Pratt Firemuth week? No. To me, it is a no.
It's not a Pratt Firemuth month.
No, it's not even a Pratt Firemuth
quarter
at this point. Yeah, season.
Sorry. So we got Rafi moving on. He goes, I got Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Cup out. Roll with Dobbs or drop either Benson. P. Ryan for either Trey Tucker. We got Tucker this time.
Hey.
And Jalen Naylor. We already kind of told you Dobbins, but I think I would drop
Trey
P. Ryan. Yeah, I think I would drop P. Ryan out of that
group. I would drop P. Ryan for Trey Tucker.
For Tucker, yeah.
Only because he's a spot start for me. I like Naylor. Like I like him a lot. I liked him as like a dynasty dart throw early, but he's not going to be as relevant with Addison back. I don't see the upside.
Yeah.
Addison season.
Yeah, for sure.
I got an extra share of Addison too today.
Nice.
You might like that.
Welcome to my portfolio. I just need him to do good. I'm so invested.
So we have Master Vader. I love it. Love the title.
Nice name.
He goes BJ. He goes Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah.
Whoa.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
You know where Mike's mind was going there.
Hey.
Oh man.
Can we get a super chat for that one?
Good job.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. Anyway, Master Vader is looking to see if we should do Brian Thomas Jr. Romeo Dobbs or Jalen Waddle. In this case, I'm probably going to lean more. I mean, the biggest question to me, one, Dobbs is out of that particular conversation. It's really between who do you like better, Trevor Lawrence or Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle? Well, maybe even Snoop Huntley. I am going to roll with Brian Thomas Jr.
BTJ Agreed. There? Oh, man, that's close. Waddle has quarterback issues. BTJ is really good. BTJ, might be a better NFL player than Jalen Waddle.
100%.
Not that Jalen Waddle's bad, but BTJ might be really good.
Yeah, he just needs a better quarterback.
Oh, man, that feels gross. Well, if Tyreek Hill isn't producing with this quarterback, I don't see how Waddle as the second read from that's going to do better. And I do like BTJ, so I'm going to roll BTJ that was on this one.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. So Drew Martinez.
By the way, Vader, if you could ask a lot more questions.
Yeah, right.
For Mike to answer,
throw
that
me
would
off.
be great.
We'd appreciate that.
So Drew Martinez goes, what should I start? Who should I start? Josh Jacobs or Jacoby Myers? I like this question a lot. If it's full PPR, I'm going Jacoby Myers without thinking twice. If it is a half PPR, I might lean a little bit more Josh Jacobs, but I ultimately like Jacoby Myers in this matchup.
Yeah, I think there's probably a 4 or 5 target at least target reception disparity. We're talking 2.5 fantasy points. But yeah, I do think the PPR half PPR split is the difference maker for me here. I hate being a cop out when I say that, but when it's within 2.5 points of 2 players in a similar tier, kind of, where was Jacoby raised up obviously this week? Yeah, I'm gonna go Jacoby and PPR.
Okay. So we got Perry going drop Waddle for Shakir.
Hold on, I just want to go back to that real quick. You guys think that Myers will be okay with no Adams on the field?
Yeah. With Adams, he was still getting 7-8 targets.
Well, I'm just saying specifically against the secondary with Newsome and
did you see what
is
someone like Malik Neighbors did? And
are we saying Malik Neighbors is anywhere close to
I'm not. I'm
Myers?
Just saying that I think that they can.
Like he's a freak. And I've even come around on that.
I'm just saying, I think he has the ability to do well in this particular.
All right, I just wanted to, for the
devil's advocate, devil's advocate for it. I'm understood. Jacoby has done well in his own right when he's by himself, and Brock Bowers seems to be more of the attention getter in this particular case. I think that he will take more attention than Myers, but at the end of the day, I think that Myers will get the ball a good amount.
So he's close. Like I think
Brock Bowers to the moon.
No, 100%. Yeah,
I own him in just over 67% of my dynasty leagues right now.
Nice.
For sure.
It's a good thing, man. I needed it. I was so worried about that.
Perry Williams, he goes drop Waddle for Shakir. No, not in 100 years. Nope. I'm sorry, can't do it. Tua will be back soon, and everything will be fine.
I feel for you though. It's gross.
Oh yeah, it's gross.
Don't go that far, man. Before you're talking about dropping, I got like a quick aside. How many trade offers have you sent? Because if it's less than how many people in your league, if it's less than that many people, you're not working hard enough, man. No. You at least get the trades out, start a conversation. Maybe you end up trading somebody else, but I'd get the dialogue going before you just drop him for Shakir, right? If Shakir is available on waivers, it already tells you there's probably some people in your league that I'm not picking up Shakir. Maybe there's an interesting trade of some value that could happen because Waddle's name is still Waddle's name. Maybe you can get something better without just having a drop flip.
And we're only one game technically that he has to, we're 8 days before he starts potentially being available to practice
within the window
off the IR. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty significant too.
Yeah. So Handle Hype goes half PPR. Should I start who should I start in my flex? Jared Reed, J.K. Dobbins, Myers, or Addison? Now, half PPR, I'm probably going to lean a little bit more towards Dobbins. They're definitely going to be in negative game script, but I like Myers a little bit better just because of what we just talked about. Overall, I think that Chargers game is tough to be a part of with, Easton Stick most likely being the quarterback. So yeah, I'm gonna go Myers here.
Half PPR. Oof. Myers not exactly a red zone guy.
Not as much as he should be.
I hate it because Myers is normally like my PPR guy.
Oh yeah, he's definitely my full PPR.
I can't do Addison yet. I got to see it once. I'm not brave enough yet to get there for me. I can't get to Reed, so it is between Myers and Dobbins for me. It's not checking out right away.
No.
This one might be a Dobbins for me. This one might be Dobbins over. Oh no, who was it? I just took Myers over who? Jacobs?
Yeah.
Then I'm taking Myers here. I don't have my rankings pulled up.
I'm in the same boat.
Will this change your guys' mind? Kansas City's 29th against the run right now. They've given up only 15.8 points to the running back position, not per
It doesn't
player, but
scare-
the entire running backs. It's not DVOA and all that kind of stuff, but just pure fantasy points.
I was looking more
Honestly,
overall upside. I wasn't looking at defense.
Yeah, even if
They're just a
if
tough
I'm
defense.
even if I'm looking at defense, it's a tough defense regardless. Chris Jones can stop anything in the middle, and he's
what
going to be a
happens,
lot
though,
of
if
outside. Yeah, but Nick Bolton is
Herbert
still very good on
re-aggravates his
that.
ankle.
Well, I already know that Herbert's probably not playing in this game. Like,
Oh, at all,
if he plays, I'd be very surprised.
Well, we
They
heard
even said
if he
they
hobbles,
said
they're taking him out. Yeah.
if he does one thing off, he's gone.
Right.
To
Yeah.
me, I think what they're doing is they're doing Justin Herbert a disservice for even putting him out on the field in the first place last week. Let the guy heal and freaking take your loss. I understand in this case it's Harbaugh, Harbaugh trying to, do his thing. I get it. But you're not going to help your team with Justin Herbert in the lineup being at, 20% compared to Easton Stick. Now, Easton Stick is horrible. Go get a better backup quarterback. But I'm not going to risk my game in this case. Yeah, there'll be a negative game script. It works better for Dobbins overall because he's going to be in more. He is the passing down back, and he is more the lead back in this case. So for me, both of them kind of are on my radar at that point. So I don't hate them. I don't hate it, but I also don't trust it. I prefer Myers, who's going to get a little bit more look at this point. That's all.
I gotta go Myers there. Honestly, that game feels weird in that like the game could be over at halftime, and like it's third stringers in. There's weird game scripts there I have to think about.
Yeah, for sure. So failures, no options. What's going on, man? Great to see you. Like I said, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing if you haven't already. He says, sit Garrett Wilson for Romeo Odunze or Greg Jennings or Addison. No, I'm not sitting Garrett Wilson for any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would
It's
take
a tough
second,
matchup.
I'd take a second look at Rome, but decide against it at the end of the day. Like, I'm not trusting Caleb over Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Not
for
doing
sure. Yeah, it feels gross, but like, once Wilson has the feel good game next week, you're gonna be feeling fine. I still think. Plus, Wilson, that team has the highest not implied team point total. It might be implied team point total, honestly. If I look at it, I mean, they're 7.5 point favorites in a low over under.
Yeah.
It just feels like they're going to be able to get to the red zone at will, possibly. I like Wilson.
And even if Denver gives them trouble, they still are going to involve Garrett Wilson. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, no, roll with Wilson.
No. So
right,
Alex,
I'm going to cut out, guys, and get ready for my show. So I see you guys got like 5 more questions. So I'll see you guys later. And you're always more than welcome to join me in the beginning if you guys want. So
understood, but it's getting late over here.
Well, I know. That's why I said I just have to extend the offer. But good show, guys, man. I'll see you guys later.
All right, Ross.
Let me make sure I leave and not in the stream, though. Pull Dustin.
There you go. That would be don't pull a Dustin.
That's the reaction I was looking for. All right, guys. Sounds good, though. I'm good. Like right here is good.
You sound
money, dude.
All right, cool. It was worth the investment. All right, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.
Peace, brother. So Alex Dooch Charm here goes, pulled the trigger on a CMC trade today. Okay. Traded away CMC, George Pickens, Joe Burrow, and ETN for Jaden Daniels, Keenan Allen, Jonathan Brooks, and Garrett Wilson. Full PPR. I haven't been impressed with ETN. Interesting. I don't hate that trade. It's a little off-centered for me, but I don't hate it. I'm still not 100% sold on Jaden Daniels. I love what he did last week. Thought he had a great game. Keenan Allen coming back from injury, so is Jonathan Brooks. So for me, it's really you got Jaden Daniels and Garrett Wilson. I don't know, man.
I'm like trying to line it up.
I am too. I'm trying to get the idea here, and man, you gave away a lot for what you got.
We're pretty low on CMC in general, though, with how he might not come back for a minute. And even when he does, what does that look
No.
like in what game? How can you predict?
Jonathan Brooks, we're not even 100% sure with what he's going to do in this offense. We think it's going to be something.
I'm getting pretty
good.
excited about Brooks, though. I got to be honest. I'm getting pretty
excitement.
That quarterback change for me was like, oh my God, it's happening. Here we go.
Well, and we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, he's still recovering from an ACL surgery. It's not like he's going to be, right off the bat being awesome. Like, it's going to take him a few months to get himself settled, and he's just starting in the NFL. I don't see him being thrown out there to the wolves. They're going to ease him in, and it's going to take some time. So if this is a long-term investment for like a dynasty league, completely agree with it. I think this is for a dynasty league, this is an awesome trade overall. Getting a younger overall quarterback, you're getting a younger running back, you're getting a star wide receiver, and you're trading away a lot of things that are pretty much going down the crapper at this point. I'm okay with it if it's dynasty. I'm not okay with it if it's redraft. That's how I'm thinking about it.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't hit the smash button on the redraft side of things, only because
I would definitely change.
I just think it's a close deal worth analyzing.
Yeah, 100%.
Where I'm ultimately at is if you have a very particular take or two, right, and you've been doing this a minute, it's the type of trade that, like, if my personal rankings that I didn't, I really went with, like, if I'm really into a player, I didn't just still drop him closer to like ECR. I was really just in on my guy, right? I was pretty in on Brooks, Wilson, and Jaden Daniels. Now the season's come around, right? I'm very in on Jaden Daniels. I am higher than market on Brooks, and I think Wilson is a good buy low, right?
Fair enough.
Pickens, I was way higher on preseason. Now that Fields is there, that hurts me a little bit. Jaden to Burrow for me in redraft is pretty even. It's not actually that far away. And yeah, ETN Brooks, I think that's where this trade gets like, how does this work out? Is the ETN Brooks. If ETN gets back to his previous volume and the team gets better, and Brooks is an efficient, very good kind of like timeshare back, but like Brooks has to be better than ETN straight up for this trade to kind of make sense, I think, because I don't love Allen. I don't think Allen makes my lineup very often, especially with the way Caleb is. Like, that's the part of the trade. If I could have swapped Keenan Allen for a piece that I like, not that one that's more valuable, one that's just I like higher in my rankings, but like keep trade cut might have him pretty close type of situation, that would make this a more, not even a clear yes, but a yes. I still think I hit yes.
Oh, he already did. So
yeah, I mean, if it's me, I still think I do, just because I do think this makes my starting lineup better for the most part. And
I think overall it does, but I think
it's sexy. If I was undefeated, I wouldn't do this though. If I can get to the playoffs and still have CMC, like, that's a game-winning play.
Yeah.
But if I'm 500, I might miss the playoffs. Am I flipping CMC for like anything just to get to the playoffs? Probably.
Understood.
I hope it works for you, man. I like it. I'd like it stylistically, and that you weren't. A lot of people give us questions about like, hey, how to do in this trade? I got a million great pieces, and I gave back like clearly less good pieces.
Yeah,
right? Well, you killed
I think
them.
everything was kind of even.
That was just a good even trade. Where I'd even say, like, if you put that in a calculator, you probably got the worst end, but you're calling your shot in a very nice way. That's a pro play. In competitive leagues, you're not going to get amazing trades done. You're going to try, but you're not going to get them done. That's the type of trade you might have to make if you're really in that belief. And if I'm betting against injuries and betting on the talent on the other side, smart play.
Yeah. So, High Chef 2K. Did I get that right? I hope I did.
Hezify 2K?
Yeah, I'm sorry, brother. Don't mean to get your name wrong. I'm bad at names unless your name is Joe or Kendall. In this case, what are the chances Mixon plays? I think he's at probably 50-50 right now. He did have a limited practice today after not practicing Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is usually a vet day as usual. Thursday is a little bit more ramped up, and then they kind of go a little light on Friday. So for me, him doing limited kind of puts him in there as a maybe. He is a 1 o'clock. So, as long as you're holding on to a guy, some type of running back or even a wide receiver, if you're putting him in the flex, that can be, viable at 1 o'clock, then, I'm okay. But I'm still, I have hope. I'm at like 50%. that he plays. Maybe 55 if you want to give him, a little.
I think I'm on the higher side of 50, but not by a lot.
Not by a lot.
But I'm not playing them either way. In my opinion, they're already favored to win.
I'm gonna play him if he's active.
Here's the only reason I wouldn't, because I think I understand the argument for why you would is just, dude, when he's on, he's amazing. He's just too good to sit. My question is this: wouldn't it make sense for them to just make him active
and then not play him?
Then play him like 4 snaps.
Yeah.
Look, if they're up by 14, they will never play him in a snap when they're within, a certain range or outside of a certain range.
Yeah, they'll probably play him on third down. They'll probably play him in certain scenarios. I mean,
maybe. I'm like, what if they just say, hey, let's get through the first couple of drives.
Yeah.
One, let's give Mixon a touch or two to see how he looks and feels and how he tells us he looks and feels. But outside of that, it's basically all Akers. Unless the game script gets bad. I think it could be he's active and gets 4 touches the whole game.
I mean, they'll probably go hot hand and go, if Cam Akers, they'll split him up for the first 2 series and see what happens. But Fololaku is not playing in this game. He's out. Fololaku is out. He is one of the top end linebackers in the league that can shut down a run game. He's out. And I think that's a huge blow to their particular defense. So for me, I have no problem loading up one of these two. And, with Cam Akers or Mixon, if I have one or the other. If I have both, I might maybe play Akers. But I still feel confident that if he's active for a reason. And they're going to play him. So I might lean him, but I would probably put him more as a flex than I would a RB2. So that's just me. Next is LA. What's going on, man? He goes Pickens or Najee. I'm gonna lean Najee.
The volume's gonna be there, right? Like, there's no one else. The team that wants to run the ball. He got 5 targets last week. You can't ask for much more, I think, from a guy like him.
Yeah. Danny O'Neill goes Anthony Richardson or Geno Smith.
I'm not going that far down. Don't ask me to pick Geno over A-Rich. I'm going A-Rich.
I'm going to go
A-Rich.
Yeah, I'm going to go A-Rich here too. And against the Lions, it's a tougher matchup. So Bryson Howe, what's going on, man? He goes
Bronson,
my bad. Bronson Howe. He goes, my running backs are Josh Jacobs, Jordan Madison, Zeke, Bucky Irving, Akers. Should I trade Jordan Mason anticipating the return to McCaffrey? My running backs are going to be bad when I lose Mason and McCaffrey comes back. No, do not trade Jordan Mason at all. Like we've said before, hopefully you listened when we got to that, conversation. I do not think that he comes back for at least week 12 at the earliest.
Don't hear what we're not saying though.
Yeah.
Did it mean you should still put some feelers out there? Where you clearly win the trade, and then the thing we're saying is when we get to the negotiation and it's close and you're like okay with the deal, probably still no is what we're saying. Like Mason might be good literally all year.
I think Mason is their lead back until further notice, you have to kind of keep CMC out of your head for the now because I don't see it happening. His trip to Germany is like a good bad thing. Like it's good that he's going to get it figured out. They do have a treatment to help him, but who says that it's going to work? And 2, it's one of these injuries. Tendonitis of the Achilles is not a good sign. That's almost a sign that it could be to the point where if he were to go out again, he could pop his freaking Achilles. So I'm all out, and honestly, it's going to keep aggravating him here and there. So for me, I'm out on CMC in a lot of ways. He goes, maybe I could trade Mason for James Conner and a 1 of Swift or Rashad White, or maybe I can get both Swift and White. I mean, I might be inclined if it's Swift and White, but honestly, I really don't want to get rid of Mason unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I don't know. If you have a guy like him right now, I don't know that I'm looking for like.
You are not doing this. You are not going for Dobbins or Chuba Hubbard. I'm sorry.
You can just do better.
White,
Chuba, you're in the same situation, but better, right? Because you have Mason versus Chuba. Like I understand they both might lose value, but
White and Swift are the better 2 if you're going to go for 2 of them. In my opinion, if you're going for 2 running backs, Swift and White are the better 2, in my opinion.
I just think there's more aggressive guys you can even try to go get. Like
100%.
Just start higher. Go try to get ETN. Mason's putting up way more points per game than ETN is. I don't know the owner's. I'm not throwing out names that are like, ooh, this will be definitely a negotiation. I'm saying you might get a bunch of flat denies, but I'm gonna throw some names out there that if you don't try this first, you might be leaving money on the table. Right? I don't go to like try to trade rape anybody, you know. And I'll tell anybody, look, you're probably not getting my best offer on my first hit, but I want to start a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely need to start a conversation to find out what you can do, but I'm not getting rid of Mason unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, there's a couple options there. Like try to trade for Pacheco because he'll be back and good. And the owner might need
solid
something.
if you're already solid at running back, which
he's fine enough for right now. Until
you're running Jacobs, Mason, and Zeke with Bucky Irving and Akers. That to me, Akers is gone as of next week. And
Pacheco's like back in like 2 or 3 weeks, right?
No, he's not back until after week 8.
He broke his freaking legs.
Yeah, he's not coming back for a minute. So for me, I'm out. I'm just not going to trade him unless you're getting something significantly high. With Swift and White, I don't mind, but I'm not trading Dobbins and Chuba.
We're saying the same thing, just different players. Just don't sell low. Go try to sell if you can get a great deal. Great. With your running back room, it does make sense to de-risk and go get a solid asset, guaranteed role all year long.
You want a low-end RB1. That's what you want.
You're assuming that Mason is going to be like dust to like way less valuable, and
he will be involved
every week as the
CMC
news starts doing his thing. Mason's value is still going up. People are really into him. He's still having great games. I'm seeing him go for. I've seen some pretty big trades with Mason. I've seen some people make some big things happen.
I'm telling you right now.
I saw Mason for JT, not straight up. There were some other players involved, but it made a lot of sense.
So Bryson asks again, what about James Conner and Swift or White? No, I'm still personally not doing either of those.
I don't like Swift or White. White, I like. There's the handcuff thing because you have Irving, but I think it's lowering your upside. You're trying to win your league, not just get to the playoffs. So White is. You want White to suck so that Bucky can take the job. You want White to get injured.
Bucky's
you don't want to root
right now.
Yeah, I mean he's hurt a little bit, but I don't like. I just don't like White's upside. To be honest with you, I think he's not good enough.
I'm higher on White than you are, but James Conner is solid, but he hasn't played a full season, so you don't know when that's going to be and when it will happen.
Swift absolutely not. Well, no, just
So James Conner and White, not bad, but honestly, I'm not moving on Mason. It's going to take a lot more than that to move on from Mason.
Yeah, you can still do better than that example.
Much better. So Michael Lopez goes, evening, fellas. I have a 12-team full PPR. Need 2. Walker, White, Braylon Allen, Chandler, and Dobbins. Thank you in advance. No problem, bro. So for me, I'm not choosing Walker here. He plays Monday night. He's still questionable. He's been limited, and I have an odd feeling he's going to be out for this game. White I like, so I'm going to go White. And it's between Allen and Dobbins, and honestly, I love Allen.
Yeah, it's going the same thing.
I just have a better feeling about Allen, but I think I'm going to go with Dobbins, just because he's the one.
Dobbins can rip off a 40-yarder for a touchdown.
And so can Allen though. So they're both very, they're both very similar in their play style. But and I love how Allen plays. Allen reminds me of a smaller Derrick Henry.
I know, it's the same thing, dude. He's
just by an inch, I love Allen a lot, but I think I'm gonna go with Dobbins.
That match Dobbins is so brutal. It's close. I think what we're saying is like Dobbins and Braylon is kind of a coin flip. Walker is too risky.
Walker's a risk. I'm not taking
I don't
it.
love
I'm
it.
not taking it.
Look, if all signs are if Walker's like all signs are a go, perfectly healthy, all the news is good, he comes out and says like, no, man, I'm feeling really good. Maybe.
You look like no.
But you got only because the options, like if he is good and goes and puts up 15, like I'm gonna feel horrible. But White locked in.
I'm ready to be wrong.
I'm calling my shot on Braylon. I actually like him.
Go for it. No, I like it. I mean,
going White and Braylon, and I would do this in an actual lineup right now because the matchup for Dobbins is. I'm scared of it for me.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I'm a little bit higher just because he doesn't really have much behind him to really slow him down. Allen does have Hall to kind of take away from him a little bit. He's still being involved even with Hall there, so I don't mind Allen at all. So if you go White and Allen, good for you, brother. I hope you do. And yeah, I'm gonna, you know what, just for this, I'm gonna go on Allen just so that we can all both be on him this week.
The win's gonna feel better, dude. The win's gonna feel
so
good.
much better. So Tranker, what's going on, man? I hope all is good. If you guys are new to the show, please make sure you guys like and subscribe. And don't worry, after this show, we have another one. Ross is just waiting for us on the other side. So keep one for you. Keep in mind, I do have Josh Jacobs as my running back too. Okay, so 12-man, full PPR, flex spot. Alex Pierce or Emmanuel Wilson.
Keep on. Just click on free. Keep mine. I do have Josh Jacobs. Alec Pierce.
I think I'm going to go with Alec Pierce regardless. It's hard to play two guys from the same team when they don't have that high of a, their team isn't really a heavy rush team. They're only heavy rush now because they don't have, Jordan Love. So we could go from there. Yeah, hey man, I took speech when I was a kid. I'm still learning how to speak. So Mark Folkman, what's going on, man? He goes Ramondre Stevenson or Jameson Williams at flex, half PPR. Ooh, the half PPR gives me a little bit more Ramondre Stevenson feel than it does a JMO feel. I know it's against the San Francisco 49ers. Niners are currently they're 7th against the run.
Yeah, that's what
this is a tough one for me. I mean, Jameson definitely is the ceiling play. Stevenson is more of a floor play. This is a tough one.
I know. I literally pull up my rankings.
I'm going to go with Stevenson because he'll get probably more touch and he'll still be involved in the passing game if they're down. JMO against Seattle is a little scary for me. Seattle is 9th against the pass, and Witherspoon and Wallen are really good. I think I'm going to go with Stevenson here.
I'm going Ramondre as well. Half
it's a tough
PPR. Jameson doesn't need to catch a bunch of passes. I think here's my tiebreaker. The Patriots have one plan A they want to win with, and it really is Ramondre at this point.
Run the ball.
There's so many ways Detroit can play. There's so many game scripts that game can go in. Many of them don't involve Jameson. Almost all of the other ones involve Ramondre, even if it's a tough matchup. He can have a tough matchup and catch 6 passes in the fourth quarter and be kind of right back. So, yeah, Ramondre.
Yeah. So, Martin, you are our last question of the night. Please, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to just pop you right over to Rasa in 2 seconds. We're going to answer this question and roll you over there. Oh, my God. I knew this was going to happen. So should I trade Drake London and Tony Pollard for Gibbs? My answer is no.
Ooh. I gotta think. My feeling is I like Gibbs, baby. I'm on the Gibbs train, and I like Pollard. I like Pollard a lot. This is very roster dependent for me in particular.
Hold on. You're trading for Gibbs?
You're getting
then
Gibbs.
I'm going Gibbs. Yeah, I'm going Gibbs. Yes. So yes, do the trade.
I don't think it's crazy one way or another. I don't think this is ridiculously smash. Because I do like London, and Pollard is way better than expected. He's not the 1A, he's the 1, and he catches.
Well, you're
going to
love the next question.
But Gibbs, dude, the upside for Gibbs is league winning. It's just not really league winning for the other two. I want a chance to win my league with every trade.
Yeah. So okay, this is the last question. I promise. So MMA outlawed. I love it.
Fuck.
So he goes, need help badly. Choose 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. So it's between Shakir, Wilson, London, and Pollard. So for me, I would need if you have a second and you're still listening, is it full PPR, half PPR? That's kind of going to be my tiebreaker here. For me, I think flexing wise, I'm going to go Pollard. For the wide receivers, I'm probably going to lean. Oh, this one's tough. It's definitely between London and Wilson. It's hard to pick Shakir. I think Wilson is set.
Wait, this is basically a choose 3, right? So it's just one man out, right?
Yeah. Well, who's the odd man out? Full.
Do you think it's really close? I think Shakir's clearly the man out for me.
Yeah, it's Shakir has only shown recently that he can do well in a full PPR setting, so I don't hate it. But
I just don't like Shakir because the matchup is I think the Bills have proven they just don't need to pass the ball very often, and when they do, it has been going to Shakir.
Well, Josh
it doesn't
spread
have
the ball
to.
out. You saw what Josh did last week and spread the ball out.
Like,
I
just think like here's my take for MMA specifically, because I think the person, the individual, because I know a lot of your takes, Mike, and I think you're balanced across a lot of the other takes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you got to remember when you're like choosing, like, hey, I'm really in on Shakir this game. You're also saying, I think definitely they have a better game than Dalton Kincaid, because if Kincaid has a good game, it's hard for this guy to have a good game too, right? You're also saying Curtis Samuel stays completely uninvolved, and you say Keon Coleman has one catch basically. I think the odds that Keon gets a little more involved and Dalton gets a little more involved, and they still want to run, right? I just think all of those things combined lead me to thinking that Shakir, 5 passes is probably like, it feels good because we were underrating him. Now that we're expecting more from him, I don't know that he's going to give you much more than, 5 for 5, 5 for 6, 6 for 7 for like 50 or 60, and probably not a touchdown. Like, I think he could have a good game, but not a great game. His chances for a great game are not there. And for the others, I think they're there.
Yeah,
that is my argument.
They have tougher tougher matchups, though, in my opinion. Wilson going against Sertan, London going against Lattimore. So 2 really tough matchups, but they're still going to be overly involved. So for me, I have no problem playing guys like Wilson and London. They are elite in their own way. So Shakir in that offense is probably the 1B, and they're going to spread the ball out. We saw what they did. They're still going to run it, of course, but I think Shakir is his safety valve that we keep talking about. So honestly, to me, it's Wilson, London, and Pollard, and I don't think it's even close with with Shakir. So I think I'm going to move in that direction.
We're not saying we don't like Shakir.
Agreed.
The other players are just too talented.
So who's PS2? I don't know who PS2 is.
I didn't catch that right away either.
I was trying to figure out who PS2 is off the top of my head. Let us know before we leave. We're going to leave in a minute. We have to.
Yes.
We have Crippy Mike in the house. Would you trade Adams for Evans? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna. Another trade. Should I trade Olave for Mixon? No.
No. You should not.
Yeah.
Pat
Surtain. Yeah. No, he's a. Thank you, Ross.
Oh, PS2 Pat Surtain.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, that makes sense.
You and Mike are on the same track where you're like looking at the cornerback matchups and
I like the cornerback matchups, but I do think, like you said, he goes against Sauce every day. He should be fine. If
it was Michael Pittman, I'd be scared. But Garrett Wilson,
Wilson
is so good.
He's
so good at football.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it too much, but it is a factor that I like letting people be aware of. But yeah, I'm a believer in him as a good corner in this league. I think he's a shutdown guy.
I'm gonna go
overall.
broke betting on Wilson. Cautionary tale.
So, Hunter, you're killing me. You're killing me, bro.
No, you shouldn't bench Tyreek to start McLaurin. God, no, don't do that.
Yeah, no. I understand why, but don't.
Don't forget that there's still a rookie that doesn't know how to throw more than 5 yards down the field to McLaurin, who finally had an okay game, but let's take it down several notches on that one.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls, we're going to wrap this up now because we need to get Rasta on his way. We are already almost a full hour for him.
We're just wrapping up. Y'all should keep hanging out with Rasta and ask him the same questions you asked us. Pit us against each other. Have some.
We want to know. We want to know. So make sure I'm going to do my closeout. Make sure you guys are following this guy right here next to me at the Fantasy Football Tavern, as well as Phil at the Extra Point, and also Tycoon at the Fantasy Boardroom. Make sure, if you're new to the channel, you guys follow our schedule. We are here every day. Right now, we're going to just be off on Saturday, but we are getting a show Saturday soon. So don't worry. We will have another channel, and we will be here 7 days a week. If you guys want to check in on Sunday, I will be here Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern to go over start sit. So make sure you guys check me out on Sunday. All right. And actives and inactives and all that fun stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. All right. So everybody enjoy your week 4 matchups. Bryson, make sure you guys go watch Rasta. My quick reaction to you. No, I would not trade Josh Jacobs for Pollard and Najee.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
No.
And definitely, Rasta's having a pretty good year in fantasy as well.
Yeah.
I think he really nailed his wide receivers in the mid rounds this year. Really, really killed it. So Rasta's gonna be awesome, and it's just him. So for all of you long-term get right fans, you get them all to yourself. So yeah.
Good luck, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful week 4, unless it's against me. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your weekend. So, Kendall, thank you so much for joining me. Always fun. Thank you for everybody in the chat. We really do appreciate everybody in here. So thank you so much. I'm not going to go through every name because we have too many. We had a really fun night with everybody. So make sure you guys stay tuned. You're going to get pulled over right to Rasta, and we'll see you soon. So for everybody here at Get Right Fantasy, thanks to guys like Frank, Dustin, Rasta himself, who's waiting, Phil, Tycoon, my boy Kendall over here. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you soon, people.
Peace.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking often, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go